Welcome to the 2018 FIA World Rallycross Championship presented by Monster Energy. It's going to be one hell of a season, and it all starts here at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. We are back for the start of a brand new season with the most competitive driver lineup to date. New teams, new manufacturers and new venues will see World RX reach new heights. The championship will travel to 12 countries, taking in all the classic venues like Hollius, Hell and Loiac, with the season climaxing at the amazing Cape Town circuit, which made its debut last year. Brand new for 2018 are two ultra exciting events. The F1 track of Silverstone will host the Speed Machine Festival, where World RX will take top billing, along with an awesome music lineup in the evenings and everything else you can think of to make it a petrolhead's dream day out. We will also be travelling to Austin, Texas, as World RX takes on the Circuit of Americas. Expect some special guests to line up on the supercar grid at the circuit better known as COTA. It's been a busy closed season, but one question has hung over everybody's heads. How do we beat the champion Johan Kristoffersson in 2018? He won the title in a record-breaking season. Most ever top qualifiers, most ever podiums, and most ever wins. One man who will relish the challenge is the 2016 world champion, Mattias Ekström. Joining him in the EKS Audi Sport team is multiple race winner Andreas Backerud. The Norwegian has all the talent to win a championship, and arguably he now has the kit. However, there was a performance deficit between the VWs and Audis last season, so what has the Ekström squad done to close the gap?
Yeah, we build new cars for sure, and we've done some testing. They feel as the old cars feel great. They go faster, but if it's fast enough to be competitive, that's why we go racing to find out. It's always nice to start good, but it's not a must to be champion. I think you saw last year that you can also win the championship like Johan did when you dominated the middle part. So nice to have a good start, but not a must.
Peugeot has expanded their commitment to World RX, and they will be hoping continuity will win the day. The legend Sebastian Loeb lines up with Timmy Hansen again. It was a disappointing season in 2017 for the now named Team Peugeot Total. They too will have title ambitions. We will soon find out if they are justified.
Peugeot worked hard in the winter. I would say that the car is not fully finished. We will start the season with this car. It's an evolution of last year's car, but we have a few new evolutions coming in during the season. We will see, but I don't know what the other did during the winter. I just hope that we will still be competitive in the beginning of the season, and we'll see that this weekend.
Perhaps the most exciting news for 2018 is the addition of two new teams featuring two new manufacturers. Gerland Schischerit and Jérôme Grosset-Janin will compete in the Renault Megane RS RX, built by Prodrive, a mark of excellence for many in motorsport. Everyone will be watching the GC competition outfit with anticipation. The second new mark taken to the RX tracks this season is Hyundai with XWRC i20s. Timo Timoziano and Niklas Gronholm will be behind the wheel, and they have the potential to be the surprise package of the season. The Hyundai has enjoyed success in stage rallying, and millions of pounds of R&D will now grace the tracks of World RX, a tactic that delivered VW the championship last season. The ultra-experienced Olsberg's MSE are back with Kevin Eriksson and Robin Larsson. Larsson over-delivered as a privateer in the past on a limited budget. It will be interesting to see what they can deliver under the guidance of team principal Andreas Eriksson. Last but not least are the reigning champions PSRX Volkswagen Sweden, who dominated 2017 with an incredible 8 wins from 12 events. It's difficult to know how they can improve, but double world champion Petter Solberg will know they need to keep their efforts at 110% as the team search for tenths of a second in a car as fine-tuned as the Polo.
You have to be very, very smart, and you have to be on the case. So, well, I must say that very impressed with all the teams, what they have done. They have done a lot of testing, and I think we have a couple of teams that will surprise a lot, definitely. It's going to be harder than ever. To even win a race, it's going to be tough. I think it will be a lot of winners. We have seen a little bit on the official test we have had together, all of us. You know, that seems like Audi have been very strong, and we will see. Yeah.
Kevin Hansen, Yannis Baumanis and Gregoire Demoustier, who is running under the Sebastian Loeb Racing banner, will all be competing this season as permanent individual entries. But no matter what car or team you are in, the champion Johan Kristoffersson is the man to beat after what was a stunning year in 2017.
Looking back now, sitting here in Barcelona, it was a good year though, to take 7 victories and a lot of podiums. I think I missed podiums only 2 times. So yeah, for sure it was a fantastic season. But now let's look forward. We really haven't tried to reinvent the wheel or do big different changes. Hopefully we have a little bit better package all around the weekend this year. For sure there is always pressure. I think that's not going to be any problem. I just, I always put big pressures on myself. In the end we have to beat everyone.
This is the championship format facing all World RX drivers. During the season there will be 12 rounds of competition across the planet. At each round, drivers will compete in 4 timed qualifying sessions, which consist of 5 car races. Only the top 12 qualify to the semi-finals. From the 6 car semis, top 3 go through, bottom 3 are eliminated. In the final, it's a straight fight to the finish, with the top drivers taking their place on the podium. More RX education later in the show. With 7 marques represented on the World RX grid, 2018 is going to be a fascinating technical battle all season. Barcelona will see if their winter development paid dividends. Let's take a look at the first track of the year. It's the 4th year of World RX visiting the circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya, and this year sees a new start line being implemented, which will change the strategy of the racing and provide a different challenge at turn 1. We ride on board with Sebastian Loeb and his team Peugeot Total 208 in free practice, down towards the first corner. A tarmac left-handed hairpin now. He uses a little bit of handbrake before crossing across. Look how dirty the track is in these wet conditions. Into the left onto the gravel for the first time. Round the right-hander here, it's absolutely crucial to keep it tight on the barrier. Loeb does this brilliantly, and that allows a great exit then towards the jump. Up towards the crest, big handful of opposite lock, and then the car comes down, braking immediately into a right-hander and back onto tarmac, but look at the mud on the road here. Standard lap goes left for a hairpin, the Joker lap comes around the outside with an identical corner. Again, a lot of opposite lock, expect some overtaking here. The Joker lap merges at a faster speed than the standard lap. Down towards the left-hander, it's a long tarmac corner, hooking wheels up on the curbs and then braking with the car heavily loaded before a right and a left. Again, super slippery at this point as the track was still very green. More handbrake from Sebastian Loeb, on the gas then down the hill and trying to judge this braking zone. Car getting away. It's important to try and get it rotated. In the end, a little bit of handbrake and dumping the clutch. Loeb then on the gas and firing it up over the brand new finish line to complete the lap. Saturday's Q1 and Q2 kicked off the season under grey skies and almost constant heavy rain. Several of the world's best rallycross drivers made uncharacteristic mistakes in the incredibly slippery conditions, with a couple falling victim to the unforgiving walls surrounding the track. Matthias Ekstrom made the best of Q1 with a run that he himself thought wasn't aggressive enough, but with no mistakes, he actually stopped the clocks nearly 4 seconds faster than anybody else. Ekstrom's nearest competitors were the usual suspects, with a fantastic battle in prospect for the final race of Q2. Sebastian Loeb got an incredible launch to take the lead in turn 1, but just a few corners later it all went wrong. The main beneficiary being Petter Solberg. 2 rally legends experiencing vastly different fortunes.
Today it was crazy. You know, when you look on the TV pictures, you know how neat you have to be, and so easy, even if you were careful, you know what happened. You know, you look at the Loeb and Hans, it's everywhere. But when I talked to Loeb and I said, have you driven in worse conditions than this? He said, Petter, never.
We tried something that we never tried really before, and I was just surviving in the car and not able to keep the car straight. I had a lot of oversteer, brutal reaction of the car, and I made a mistake, so we lost everything there. We'll see. I will try to find the right setup this time, and I will push.
Petter Solberg then with the win in Q2 tops the overnight standings from Matthias Ekström and Johan Kristoffersson. Andreas Backerud in fourth. Fascinating battle between VW and Audi. Further down the table, Larsen, Schischrit, Loeb and Gronholm are just inside the all-important top 12. Timmers Yarnov yet to make the cut.
David Richards, give us a sense of how big a deal it is that Prodrive have built this car and joined the World Rallycross Championship.
Well, this was the decision made 2 years ago. We started a little over 2 years ago and said, right, we've got some spare capacity. Let's look what championship we want to be in. The World Rallycross, we believe, is growing all the time. It's really exciting. And we thought with our experience in rallying, it was a great project. So we did a ground-up design. We said, what would the perfect World Rallycross car look like? And afterwards, we found Gerlin, and he brought the sort of Renault idea as well. So we clothed it all in a Renault body, and but it is a complete clean sheet of paper. It's inboard brakes. It's our own new design inline engine. It's got double wishbone suspension like a race car. It really isn't any compromise anywhere.
And of course, you've got a great history as a company of winning championships, so your ambition for this must be to win a world title.
Yeah, we came here to sort of win. It's first year. This is our first event, so a lot to learn.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So Gerlan, it's great to see you at the start of your new adventure in the World Rallycross Championship. Give us a sense of how long this has been building up and how good it feels to finally be here.
Yeah, it felt really, really good actually, because it's been 2 years of work, crazy work to be here, to find the way how to make it happen, to find the technical support from Prodrive, to design the cars, and finally to be here at the first round for the full season. So it's really exciting, and I'm looking for it.
And how does it feel to have a car that's basically been built from scratch just for you and your team?
Yeah, feel amazing. It was the plan since the beginning to have our own design, and really design the car from a blank papers. That was the ideas. So it's a good thing, but on the other hand, everything is new. So we took some risks. So we have to see how it goes and take time to get the experience to go through and be more and more aggressive and performant during the season.
And just a quick word about Jerome and what your expectations are of you and he this season.
Yeah, Jerome is a well experienced driver. He's quite really fast, I should say. So we are looking for him to doing some good results. For myself, I've been learning quite a lot last year. I feel also pretty confident. So let's see. We need to take time for the few races, but to see really where we are. But I feel we can do something quite good. So let's have a look. But looks okay.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
My name is Andrew Coley. I will be your commentator. Joining me in the commentary box this weekend, Andrew Jordan, of course a World RX podium finisher and full-time British touring car driver. Reporting from the paddock, Neil Cole. Here are the standings then ahead of Q3. Solberg from Ekström and Kristoffersson backward in P4. It's a real Audi Volkswagen show at the top. Kevin Hansen, Baumanis, Grosjean, Timmy Hansen, Larsen, Schischrit, Loeb, Niklas Gronholm are currently in. It's Timmers Yarnov and Kevin Eriksson who need to fight their way in. Q3 is next. Well, in this first encounter, Sebastian Loeb and Kevin Eriksson really needing a good result to try and get themselves up into the all-important top 12. Tidy through the first corner, it was Eriksson who took the lead, but watch this. As we get on the gravel, he runs up the bank on the inside, runs wide. Loeb goes inside him, and you heard the contact, and that was enough to break Loeb's suspension. Hand goes in the air, he's disappointed, but he knows he's not going to be setting a decent time in this one, unlike Eriksson, who took the win. The real story, though, of Q3 was tyres. The track was drying. Timmers Yarnov here in the new Hyundai was leading on slicks. Chasing him in the new Renault, Gerlin Schischrit was on wets. As the race went on, the Russian edged a small lead. Probably not enough to say that slicks were definitely the choice to make. He did go fastest so far, though. Well, this one's going to be exciting. As I say, track conditions changing and some interesting tyre choices coming in. Q3, race 3. Niklas Gronholm on the inside. His teammate's just taken a race win. Can he? Matthias Ekström Ekstrom's gone for a very interesting tyre choice. We'll cover it when we're into the race. Robin Larson in the middle of the grid, Yanis Baumanis and Jerome Grosset-Janin on the outside. Gronholm is down in P12. That's okay, that's in at the minute, but of course he doesn't want to drop any further down. He'll be helped by the fact that Sebastian Loeb, who's one place ahead of him, has had a disaster. Ekstrom, we are hearing, has gone for diagonally opposite wet and dry tyres. Oh, Marshall's fallen over on the grid. First crash of the day. So Ekstrom with diagonally opposed tyres, wets on 2 corners and dries on 2 corners. We've seen this kind of thing on the Monte Carlo rally, but he bogs at the start, has to dig clutch. Baumanis has got the better of them all. Baumanis shuts the door across, round the outside, Jerome Grosset-Janin into P2. He's got a door up the inside, pushes Baumanis right. Baumanis drops down into P2 and he might lose out into Gronholm as well. Gronholm does get in front of Baumanis. He's about to get collected by in the background, almost from Ekstrom, but Ekstrom just managed to back it up.
Ekstrom really got muscled out there, didn't he? He was the big loser of first one. You could see it bogged a little bit on the start, had to get in the clutch, get some revs on it, and then he just got a little bit boxed in, but Grosset-Janin round the outside, Gronholm into the Joker lap. So Gronholm's on the dry tyres. We've got real split strategy in this race. It was weird, a bit weird what Ekstrom's done with his tyres. He's obviously looking for different traction and different grip in different areas.
Very rally Monte Carlo. A couple of years ago, I remember first time studs on 2 opposite corners and dry, wets or dries on the others in mixed icy conditions. Obviously, we're looking at different surfaces here, but the same thing, some grip in some places and not elsewhere. We haven't seen this happen before though. We've seen new and used tyres, but not really wets and dries.
I was thinking if he's going for wets on some of the right side, he's looking for the inside wheel traction on this corner we're coming up to now. So the long gravel corner, if he's got wets on the right side or the right front, he's then looking for that to give him a little bit of traction on this wet dirt.
Grosset-Janin with a good bullying start. There is Carl O'Sullivan, who of course last year was with IMG. This year is team managing for GCK, so feeling the stress from a completely different point of view. Last year he was worried about the trucks, where the trucks were. This year he's worried about where the cars are. Baumanis into the Joker. Baumanis told me as he comes around, where's he going to merge? Not quick enough this time. Baumanis was saying they've got their starts nailed, and that's been a big help. What have you seen, AJ?
Lap time straight away now are looking a good second quicker from Grosset-Janin in the Megane. So he's at the track. This car obviously is very different. We spent some time yesterday looking at how different they've brought the technology side of it. Really worked on getting the weight in the centre of the car. And it's going to be interesting because it's always one, you look from an engineering side in an ideal world, how does it work out practicality wise? But it's doing very well so far. Ekstrom though is going very quickly also.
So interestingly, fastest lap of the day for Ekstrom, who's on diagonally mixed tyres. Grosset-Janin, though, the leader, he's on wet, so we still don't know what this last qualifying race in Q3 is going to go with tyres-wise.
And this is where it's good with someone like Ekstrom. You look at the first corner, you look like they're both into the Joker, like the top 3 go through into the Joker.
Gronholm coming through to try and get them at the merge. I don't think he's going to find it as he looks for traction on the inside, goes tight. Gronholm with a great block. Fantastic information from his spotter. He moved across to the inside. No room for Grosset-Janin, despite the extra speed, couldn't come round him.
That will all be down to his spotter, not taking anything away from Gronholm. But when you're in the car, you're sat so low, so far back. The mirrors for aerodynamics and weight are tiny, but they're useless. So you've got to rely on your spotter to say, look, you're going to be close on the merge, get it covered.
We saw Ekstrom has a look up the inside, little nudge, he's left it deep, as he got too deep, tries to find the traction, and he's going to lose out, in fact, so he's going to try and get back up the inside of Larson. If he gets enough grip, Larson's on the outside of him, and he loses out now, but he's on the inside there with the right-hander, and Ekstrom's been bullied wide there, he's lost out. Larson there runs a bit wide, Ekstrom picks up the throttle, tries to find the traction, he's tight in on the inside. How close are these cars this season?
This is proper rallycross, isn't it? Good, hard racing, but Gronholm spotter, Jussi Pinamaki, an ex-driver, really good driver himself, so he's coming at it from a driver's point of view, knows where you need to place the car.
And we saw Ekstrom do that yesterday. Ekstrom yesterday being bullied out today. Yes, they held that tight line to stop Kristoffersson going round the outside. Kristoffersson actually got him when he then made a mistake in the wet and slippery conditions later. The target time is 3:53.4. We are looking to see whether or not Niklas Gronholm, who is running on dry tyres, can knock some time off that. It's his teammate who currently leads Q3. And you can see the clock at the bottom, wait for it to stop. There's the checkered flag. And Gronholm moves to the top of the standings in Q3. And that is, 3:53.4 is still not down. Sorry, no, that was Tim Azyanov. Yeah, Gronholm 3:49.8. That is the fastest time of the weekend so far. So just a tiny bit quicker than Solberg went yesterday. Great race, brilliant. That's what I want to see all season, but the conditions here hiding the true pace of the cars. Niklas Gronholm, 3:49.8, fastest time of the weekend. Jerome Grosjean in P2. Grosjean was on wets. Gronholm was on dries. Janis Baumanis, Robin Larsen and Matthias Ekstrom muscled out in that one with that diagonally split tyre. But look how fast that race was. All of them into the top 6. Only Timosyanov holds on to his spot towards the top of the table from the previous run. So another look at the start. Pretty even across, wasn't it there? As you say, apart from Ekstrom. Ekstrom then had contact look with Gronholm and dropped back. And Jerome went round the outside, actually got into the side of Baumanis and pushed him wide. Baumanis got the whole shot. I say Baumanis said they'd worked on the starts and that car's looking good.
It's been consistently good off the start, hasn't it? But Ekstrom was a bit unlucky there. It all got bottled up. A bit more contact, so that's Ericsson at
Larsen,
at the inside. Ekstrom looking to get back, but with the dirt cleanup, there's only really one route, and we saw Ekstrom then try to make an overtake. Is this it? So he... No, it's not. I thought it was going to be when he goes up the inside, but you can see Baumanis runs a little bit deep there. Ekstrom's just been bottled up. Not a clean race for Ekstrom, which is going to make Q4 really important for him.
Brilliant drive from Gronholm. Great Joker tactics and a fantastic Joker exit. On then to the final race of Q3. Number 1 on the car, Kristoffersen, the last man to pull up to the start line. One little tighten on the belts as the tension rises. We get ready to see if any of these guys can go to the top of the standings of Q3, and of course qualifying overall at this point. On the inside, the double world champion Petter Solberg in Rallycross. He's got one for rallying, of course, as well. Timmy Hansen and Kevin Hansen, the Peugeot brothers, next to each other after a fantastic run yesterday in Q2. Sorry. Andreas Backerud next to Kevin, and Johan Kristoffersen on the outside. Okay, tyres, there we go then. Wet tyres for Kevin Hansen in the middle of the grid. Everyone else on dry. So Kevin with the gamble. Is it going to pay off, or is he going to get blown away by the others? And how is the start going to be affected? There's that super low engine note from the two VWs on the outside of the grid. Kevin jumps the start. Kevin jumps the start. You were looking at the top of your screen there. Ready to race goes out. We have a random gap there, so the drivers can't predict when the lights are going to go. And unfortunately, Kevin has jumped the start, so 2 Joker laps.
I wonder if he was trying to predict the lights there, because it's, you know, sometimes you see people go when the ready to race light goes out or something, but whether he's just trying to time it.
Stab at it.
Yeah.
The thing is, with the wet tyres on as well, we think that possibly the dry tyres got the more traction off the start, in which case he could be. Well, now he's compromised anyway, but he could have been out of the back off the start, so we'll see. On then to the final race of Q3. Number 1 on the car, Kristoffersen, the last man to pull up to the start line. One little tighten on the belts as the tension rises. We get ready to see if any of these guys can go to the top of the standings of Q3, and of course qualifying overall at this point. On the inside, the double world champion Petter Solberg in Rallycross. He's got one for rallying, of course, as well. Timmy Hansen and Kevin Hansen, the Peugeot brothers, next to each other after a fantastic run yesterday in Q2. Sorry. Andreas Backerud next to Kevin, and Johan Kristoffersen on the outside. Okay, tyres, there we go then. Wet tyres for Kevin Hansen in the middle of the grid. Everyone else on dry. So Kevin with the gamble. Is it going to pay off, or is he going to get blown away by the others? And how is the start going to be affected? There's that super low engine note from the two VWs on the outside of the grid. Kevin jumps the start. Kevin jumps the start. You were looking at the top of your screen there. Ready to race goes out. We have a random gap there, so the drivers can't predict when the lights are going to go. And unfortunately, Kevin has jumped the start, so 2 Joker laps.
I wonder if he was trying to predict the lights there, because it's, you know, sometimes you see people go when the ready to race light goes out or something, but whether he's just trying to time it.
Stab at it.
Yeah.
The thing is, with the wet tyres on as well, we think that possibly the dry tyres got the more traction off the start, in which case he could be. Well, now he's compromised anyway, but he could have been out of the back off the start, so we'll see. Ready then for the restart. There's the 2 times Joker lap sign for Kevin Hansen. Due to that light predicting attempt, or did he just jump the gun? Either way, another shot at the start. Here we go. switches back into position, adrenaline back up to max. This time they're away. Kevin, though, dumps it on the grid. Absolutely disastrous start for him. Solberg's getting squeezed on the inside. Backward trying to go around the outside. Up the inside then. Timmy Hansen having a look, see if he can go through, but it is going to be Solberg who's going to lead on the way out onto the dirt for the first time, and it is Kristoffersen, in fact, who loses out from the outside of the grid.
On board with Kristoffersen here. We've seen it's a bit of a one track with how the dirt's clearing up. Flicks it left over the big jump. You can see straight away now they're getting more air over that as the circuit's drying out, so you haven't got to get the car slow down as early. But Kevin Hansen looked out a bit on the start, didn't he? It looked with the wets, it just bogged down, so I think his revs were a little bit too marginal. And it was Backrud who went to the Joker to get out of the traffic into some clear air.
Danny Romer there, standing at the side of the track watching the racing. He was racing in the buggies. That was not somewhere you particularly wanted to be yesterday. They were coming in completely covered in mud from head to foot. No windows. Looked like a huge amount of fun, though. Solberg here on a bit of a mission. He was brilliant yesterday, wasn't he? Won Q2. He was second in Q1. The conditions played a little bit into his hands. Kristoffersen having a cheeky little look at Hansen.
Just ran a bit deep there, and the car almost stopped as he was on the handbrake. But in fact, fastest lap of the day from Solberg, 51.6. Miles quicker than anyone's gone so far. So some of that, yes, it's the track, but Solberg's really on it.
And actually, Kristoffersen there, where Hansen made the mistake and he tried for the inside, he's actually compromised his own line in trying the pass. You've got to try the pass, haven't you? But that's ended up with him slightly further back, and he goes Joker.
Yeah, he's trying to cover off Backrud because Backrud's already Joker, so the spotter will have seen it's going to be quite a close merge, but Kristoffersen's going to have some good speed coming. He covers it.
Lovely job!
Slight contact, but was he over the back of the curve? That's what the question's going to be. Was it track limits? Was he behind the white line?
Both into the gravel trap. So that gravel trap is new thanks to them needing a bit more runoff here in Barcelona. You remember, Backrud ended up in the wall there last year. This year they both end up in the gravel. As you say, I'm not sure Backrud tried to get back to the inside, didn't he, to cover it off. Then you forced them to go wide. Kristoffersen went inside.
It's easy said than done from Backrud's point of view. You know, he's accelerating the car. The car's really loaded up. You can't just get it to the white line straight away, but he'll feel hard done by there because he'll think he defended it. Obviously, we'll have to see the replay to see how much of a room there was, how much of a gap there was, but either way, Backrud's going to feel hard done by from that because he ended up in the gravel, dumped a load of time.
And our track limits are different to everyone else, aren't they? We are one wheel on, so if he's got one wheel on, I think he'll be okay.
Okay, I'm thinking of
but if it's
circuit racing where we'll be done for that. So better rules over here for sure. Then
as long as you're on the passing side, not on the being passing
side. If it's one wheel on, then you're all good.
So Kevin Hansen has taken both his Jokers, but he's a long way back because he stalled on the grid on the restart. Backrud and Kristoffersen lost time with their little altercation at the Joker lap merge. Hansen has taken his Joker lap. He's 4.8 back. We're not sure on the Joker deficit here. Yesterday it looked like about 4 seconds, so it should be a bit less than that today. Solberg is leading and is the only man not to Joker. Here we go then. Solberg will head on to the Joker this time.
Fastest lap of the day now. Johan's gone to a 51.0, but Petter, we saw yesterday, lap time very, very consistent, which yesterday is very tricky to do in those track conditions. But again, today, all 3 laps so far as he goes to the Joker, keeps it nice, neat and tidy, thinking of the exit. His spotter will be on the radio. You're clear, you don't need to defend, just get your head down. But again, all within a couple of tenths. Very, very consistent.
And looking at Kevin Hansen's lap times, despite the fact he had that bad start, his lap times are not there either. So we are now at the point, I think, where the dry tyres are the way to go. Solberg then is trying to catch that time at the bottom. 3:49.8 is the current leader, and that is Niklas Gronholm. So is Gronholm going to take a win here in the brand new Hyundai, or is Solberg going to smash that time? I think you've got your answer there because that clock has a long way to go, and Solberg's got just meters to the line. He takes the checker flag. 3:39.3. Solberg wins Q3, and he was overnight TQ. He's definitely going to stay there 10 seconds faster, but remember, the track conditions are developing, and our timing screens are showing that exit between Kristoffersen and Backrud is under investigation. So those guys, their positions in this session are going to remain in the hands of the stewards. Kevin Hansen crosses the line to complete Q3. Solberg then 3:39.3, mega time from him, but look, Timmy Hansen was with him, Kristoffersen was with him, but remember him and Backrud, as I say, if anybody gets in trouble there, it's going to be Kristoffersen, I think, not Backrud. They jump up towards the top. Kevin Hansen, of course, is way down thanks to a jump start, 2 Jokers and a stall. So it didn't go Kevin's way, but he was P5 overnight. He might still make it. Here's that start then. Kevin Hansen, of course, he'd already jumped the start, then stalled, so that wasn't ideal for him. But Bit of contact down at turn 1, and Kristoffersson came off the worst here. Hansen tried to find a way to it. Johan right at the back, and that left him having to get a bit of a fight.
Yeah, that dropped him into the traffic, didn't it? And got a little bit nitty-gritty with backward, didn't it, on the Joker merge. Here we are, Kristoffersson carrying good momentum off. 4 wheels over, or was it over the white line? Contact, push backward through the gravel. Backward will not be happy with that.
No, and the question is whether or not, if he was all 4 wheels off, will the stewards penalise it for it? I think that's really, really close to track limits. Well, here are the standings after Q3. Remember, subject to the stewards looking into the situation between Kristoffersson and Backward. Solberg currently top, having won both Q2 and Q3 in vastly different conditions. His teammate Johan Kristoffersson in P2. Ekstrom is third, Backward is fourth. Have the Audis closed that gap down to the Volkswagens over the winter. Timmy Hansen is there in the Peugeot. Jerome Grosset-Janin is there in the Megane. We've got Yanis Baumanis in the Fiesta from Stade. Larsen is there in the OMSE Fiesta. Fully mixed up. Niklas Gronom in the Hyundai up in P9. Timosyanov has managed to drag himself up from 13th into 11th. Kevin Hansen is 10th despite a disaster in Q3, and Shishirit is in the top 12 too. At the minute, the surprises are Sebastian Loeb and Kevin Eriksson in 14th and 15th. First slow motion pictures of the year for you from RX Catalunya Barcelona. This was free practice, and my goodness me, did they need the practice. 153 days away from competition, and Andrew Jordan, this is pretty much the hardest way they could possibly have come back onto the track.
We were stood watching practice, weren't we? And it was so slippy. You could see lots of mistakes from everyone, which is expected in these conditions. Lots of different lines, but they were having to go so slow. Here, the Peugeot that you can see, the rear wheels were locked, trying to get the car to turn in, but just look, it's sliding really wide on that thick mud.
No consistency either, and we're used to seeing these guys hit their mark every single time. You'd see a stunning lap from a driver, and then they'd come down and it would be handbrake, clutch kick, down the gears, nail it. And at this level, you don't see that, and that's just a mark.
The track's changing all the time, and Solberg really came into his own, didn't he? With that rallying experience, having to be very forceful with the car, getting the car turned, doing not necessarily your conventional lines in certain places, just doing whatever it takes to get the car turned and keep it on the track.
Great to see this car out. So, of course, the GCK RX machines, Renault Megane's built by a legendary motorsport firm in the UK, Prodrive. So much kit on these cars, Andrew, and finally we saw them on track, and actually the pace was pretty good, even in pre-practice.
Yeah, they look very good, and lots of different ideas coming to World Rallycross through Prodrive that have done a lot of good stuff, obviously, over the years. But just look at the dirt. This is actually a tarmac section here. Look how much is getting dragged onto it. This actually was slippier than the dirt sections, because you've got the wet tarmac, then the mud that creates a real slime sort of film over it. So really struggling for grip on the tarmac sections.
So Backward there had come from the start. In the background is where the new start line is. Here you see Kristoffersson come from the gravel section at the bottom of the hill onto the tar, and here Andrew desperately trying to keep it on the inside to find that clean tar.
This is what we say, you're not necessarily on the conventional lines. You're looking for where the grip is, you're looking for where the thick mud is, and you can see the wheel spin, you know, nearly 600 horsepower, 800 newton meters of torque. Trying to get traction in these conditions is pretty much impossible. The new Oldsberg's MSC Fiesta here was going pretty well yesterday. Had a few little issues, but some of that was caused by the weather conditions and that inconsistent driving, as we said.
Jump nowhere near as big as we've seen it in previous years, of course, because the run up to it, again, you've got that long right hander where they've got to keep in so tight, otherwise completely compromise the entrance to the jump.
But also when you land, you've then got a really slippy corner on the tarmac, so you can't commit over the jump, carry too much speed. You've got to keep it all under control.
So many new cars here. Kevin Hansen in the yellow Peugeot, easy for us to identify. Maybe not with the amount of mud that was over it by the end of the practice session. Look at this, into the left-hander, desperately trying to find some traction. Conditions, I'm sure, will change during the course of the weekend. Well, this is how they stood after Q3. Solberg from Kristoffersson, Ekstrom, Backward. Timmy Hansen with the Peugeot down in 5th. At the minute, though, it's Volkswagen and Audi in the top 4. Just inside, Timosyanov and Shishirit, Sebastian Loeb and Kevin Eriksson need a stormer in Q4 coming up. Sebastian Loeb in this first race at Q4, desperately needing a good run. Of course, he is actually running Grégoire de Moustier, who was on the inside of him through the first corner in his own team, Sébastien Loeb Racing. So de Moustier didn't put up much of a fight, and Loeb was able to take the checkered flag. Would the time be good enough? 4 cars up in race 2 of Q4. Inside, Jérôme Grosjean, Oliver Bennett next to him in the new BMW Mini, Kevin Eriksson and Kevin Hansen. Everybody showing new dry tyres, which is what we would expect. Kevin Eriksson with the biggest job to do here, I think. 15th, not where he would like to be. Hasn't had a great weekend. Grosjean in the Prodrive built Renault. There he goes, clunks the car into gear, takes control of the handbrake. They've got a brilliant indicator, which we'll have a chat about on that handbrake in a minute. The 2 Kevins on the outside. We've seen them both do around the outside. One at Buxtehude, one in South Africa. Can either of them pull it off here? Now the conditions are dry. Green light, Bennett box, so does Kevin Hansen. Kevin Hansen stalled in the last one. This time he does get away, but he's going to end up P4. It's Eriksson who gets the whole shot. Kevin Hansen trying to go around the outside of Bennett, but Bennett seems to have enough pace up the hill. Can he hold on to that position? He can. Kevin Hansen ends up down in P4. That is not what he wanted. Eriksson out front, though, has got to get hammered down. He's P15 after Q3.
On board in the Megane here, some really cool technology you were talking about at the start, and with the inboard brakes on this, they can't load it up as Bennett and Hansen go to the Joker, so that's really screwing up Hansen's race. He looks to get the undercut, gets balked there. Kevin really needed a neat race, didn't he? And we've seen the starts and the wet were really, really good from the Peugeots, but they look very marginal on the revs. He's up the inside, so if you
tidy, look at that.
You can get gone. Good move.
Yeah.
He knew coming out of that long corner, didn't he, was going to make the move, so he needs to get his head down and get gone. But going back to the Megane on the start, so a lot of the cars really load it up against the handbrake, load the clutch up, but because of where the brake positioning is on that, they can't do that as much, so they've got a separate set of shift lights in the car, which then tells you on here the optimum amount loaded against the clutch. So very technical stuff, and something else for the drivers to look at when you've got your adrenaline going and you're on your anti-lag. But it's just because of this new stuff they're bringing in, it obviously then creates different problems for the drivers to think about.
Interesting as well that the dash is actually down on the floor, so there isn't really a dash for them to look at, and they've done that for centre of gravity.
Yeah, stuff like that I find quite funny, because yes, centre, so you can't see the dasher, it's down in where the shadow is down. There you can just see at the bottom of the screen, that's where the main dash is. So from a driver's point of view, if you're looking for your water temperature or your alarms or anything like that, it's down there. So from the engineer side, great, get the weight down low, but from the driver's side, how practical is some of that stuff?
So possibly a red light somewhere on the dash, which would warn them, of course, I suppose, that maybe somewhere
and
a bit
with circuits
easier.
like this and cars this quick, you haven't got time to be looking around. You need, in my opinion, you need a dash or something just in your eye line, like the shift lights are, so you can just from your peripheral vision, you can see a light at red or something, rather than having to keep looking down.
Well, Kevin Eriksson leading in this one, and this car's got some new tech on it as well. So it's a Mark 8 Fiesta. They've got radiators in the front like the VW Polo did. Jérôme Grosjean drops into the Joker, and Kevin Hansen's actually done really well. He's almost up with Grosjean. Can he hold him off? Grosjean round the outside. Nicely done. Kevin kept that inside line, will carry speed up towards the long left-hander, but he's not close enough this time. But yeah, Kevin Eriksson out front, they've got lay-down dampers in that car. So people have really gone to town this year with the technology. I love seeing this Prodrive car, the OMSC car, the fact the air vents have moved on the Audi. Everyone's gone full techers over the winter.
Yeah, and it's great, you can still see the raw part of the cars moving around, but they just look so much more sophisticated how they do it. They look a bit easier to drive, they look like they've got a bit more grip, but it's always things like the dampers, the amount of money now that these dampers are. But you look at how they land over the big jumps and the big bumps, it's really impressive to see.
Target time, bottom left, 3:25.4. First job is to shut the door on the Joker lap, and Kevin Eriksson does that pretty easily. Loeb is the man who needs to come up from P14, but Kevin Eriksson's one place behind him in P15, so Eriksson really needs to get to the finish line before that yellow time in the bottom right of your screen. Kevin Hansen here's being held up again, isn't he? A little nudge to Jérôme, let him know he's here. This isn't the greatest run for him, but what's the time going to be for Eriksson? Down to the bottom, nip on the handbrake, light those four wheels up, he's gunning for the line. Is it going to be enough? Whoa, he just misses out, so he misses out by 0.3 of a second. But he has got the 4 guys in this race behind him. 3 guys remaining in this race behind him, and he'll beat de Moustier and Napik as well. So we will see. Kevin Eriksson and Sébastien Loeb are fighting for a place in the semi-finals. There's the result, 3:25.7. Jerome Grosjean in P2. Kevin Hansen held up behind both Bennett and Grosjean in that. So Kevin gets P4, but I think would have been a lot faster if he'd managed to get a better start. That's 2 bad starts in a row for him. Loeb, though, did get away okay. So Loeb and Ericsson at the top. They are the guys who are, as I say, right on the cusp of making it or not. So here is Kevin's car at the start on the outside. Well, it looked okay from there,
actually looked all right, didn't bog down, but it was Ericsson around the outside on board the door. He was firmly shut in his face there. But Kevin Hansen really needed a clean start, didn't he? You saw how much he was getting held up on the first lap, but just look how much the gravel's really cleaning up. And this is Hansen, look, he's already got underneath him, he's got a good run through. Bennett had a bit of a moment in the mini on the way into the corner. And then this was a really close merge. This really hurt Kevin over the last couple of laps, and you could see it just holding him up, which then hurt him overall in the race time. But a great win for Kevin Ericsson in the new Fiesta.
Kevin, it was a comfortable race win, drying conditions, but you still look very frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, the car is amazing. We have a very good pace. Unfortunately, brand new car, and we had some problem yesterday with the with the drive shaft. So that's why I spun 2 times. I could only rear-wheel drive. Such a shame. I mean, I would have been top 3 times both times. We see now how long it is. Loeb was 2 tenths before something. I would have needed to be in front of him, I think, to be able to get to the semi, but I feel good for the rest of the year because the car feels very good. I'm just very disappointed because I felt I had very good pace this event. So, but that's life. It was a brand new car and everything can happen. So we just need to go back home and get ready for Portugal. If we don't make it.
Thank you.
5 in a line on the grid for race 3 of Q4. More brand new Rallycross cars to do battle down into turn 1. Yanis Baumanis on the inside running for start, 6th after Q3. Timur Zyanov looking 11th. Robin Larsen is in 7th. Ekström currently P2 after Q3. And Gulan Shisharit is 12th. So 11th and 12th for Timur Zyanov and Gulan Shisharit. They're in danger. And we're seeing here a mixture of tyre choices. I think most of those guys are on very little used slicks. We did see some mixed tyre choices in a wet Q3 or a drying Q3. There won't be a lot in it in terms of tyre wear, considering how greasy the circuit still was. Here we go then. Vastly different anti-lag sounds from the 5 cars on the line. Looks like they will get away well. Larsen puts a squeeze on Timur Zyanov, who has contact with Baumanis trying to avoid the wall. Larsen's out the back door. Shisharit has run very, very wide. He's going to end up down in P5. Ekström gets up into P3, and it is Timur Zyanov from Baumanis.
Ekström was really brave around the outside. He got a good start as we're on board with him now. So he's 2nd overall at the minute, so he just needs a good overall time, but I think that's why we've seen him not put new tyres on. He wants to save it, and he goes to the jokes, ducks out of the traffic there, gets into some clean air, now gets head down, and Baumanis up the inside. He got under Timur Zyanov coming off that left hand now, and Baumanis gets it stopped. Timur Zyanov right behind him.
Timur Zyanov with a big push. You can see the smoke pouring off the tyres, but Ekström and Larsen ducking into the joker. The commitment here to the throttle and the brakes is just so different. All weekend we've been seeing them gingerly checking the grip levels, and now it's just fully lit. Look at this up hill, 600 horsepower, it's wonderful.
It's great, it's what we want to see, the cars really moving around, and Baumanis and Timur Zyanov obviously were teammates for the last couple of years, so now they're racing against each other in different teams. But Ekström did a good job going back to the first corner. He got a really good start, but kept really out wide, gave the guys a nice bit of room over the jump.
Look how aggressive he
the
is.
limits are up over it as the car's fully in the air.
And on the gravel as well, Ekström with super aggressive inputs on the gravel. I know you've sat with him in the car on gravel, haven't you?
It was probably one of the most impressive things in a car I've seen. It was a track in Germany, and his commitment, his aggression to the car, and his aggression to committing to the car through the high-speed stuff was really, really impressive.
Yeah, and it impressed you, mate, then he's obviously doing something right. We know he's one of the very, very best drivers in the world. He's been our world champion. He'd love to get that title back. Have Audi done enough to close the gap to VW? This is the first dry run we've had this year. 3 different qualifying sessions in different weather conditions. Will this be the first indicator, do you think, of the true pace of these cars on the dry?
And Ekström there, he's going to be praying Shisharit goes to the joke lap. He's just set the fastest lap of the day, which is the fast lap of the weekend. down in the 47, so he's going to hope that he goes.
And it does.
Yes,
Yes,
he
he
gets
does.
clear air, so this is worked out
released.
perfectly for him.
Ekstrom release, that's exactly what he wanted. Timosjanov's going to try and come around the outside of Larsen. And in fact, in the background, I think it was Shishrit who ran wide onto the still very dusty. You can see it's dusty offline, and Shishrit ran wide and lost a little bit more time.
It's a horrible feeling. Like Ekstrom there, he would have been praying that they were going to go to the Joker and clear him up, because he can feel he's got great pace in the car. But what you don't want to do, you know, it's overall race time. It's not about the position, is it? You need to just keep pushing every lap.
He needs that good time. We know that the target time at the minute is Sebastian Loeb, 3:25.4. As I say, this is our first indicator. Fastest time of the decade, 47.2. He's on an absolute mission. There you can see the new roof vents on the Audi. He flings it to the left and the right over the jump, super late on the brakes. Baumanis will release him now, and Ekstrom is on a big push. Are we going to see them up with the pace of the VWs? Are Christopherson and Solberg going to race them again on the next one? Baumanis out of the Joker lap. Timosjanov puts the block on the inside. Baumanis, the Latvian, hanging it out round the outside. Can't quite get it done. Too dusty, and he slots in behind. Down to the bottom of the hill, just a couple of corners to go. AJ, what's your money on? Do you think Audi have done enough work over the winter?
Yeah, this has worked out well for Matthias, and it's been a clean race. He hasn't had to battle with cars, really. Hasn't slowed him up, so a real clean nip on the handbrake. Great race.
Here we go. 3:25 was the time. He's going to smash that, definitely. It's a 3:21.8. 3.5 seconds quicker, but the real question is, what are VW going to do in the next one? Both Solberg and Christopherson are up next. I think people know this too, don't they? Ekstrom won the first 3 events last year, and then after that it was a VW whitewash. So in some ways we can't really tell from here, but it's exciting. Matthias Ekstrom then taking the lead in Q4, 3:21.8 from Robin Larsen and Timosjanov. What was Loeb's time? Loeb's time was a 3:25.4. You can see Baumanis and Shishrit. Let's watch where they slot in and see how far down Loeb and Ericsson are. So Loeb P3, Kevin Ericsson P5. Remember, it's those guys that are desperately trying to get into the semi-finals. Okay, so this was the start. It was pretty tight. You said Ekstrom.
Yeah, look at Ekstrom wide. Just giving a couple of foot there. You saw him come over to the right. He doesn't want to close them down too much. That was Baumanis. You can see Timosjanov had the wheel really smoking up, struggling for traction, and Baumanis to get it cut underneath him.
A few people have managed to find traction on the inside. With it being uphill as well, you wouldn't think we've done it, but we've seen 2 or 3 people who just got the car straight and somehow found a gap.
Yeah, it's about getting the car straight to accelerate, but on board with Ekstrom, it was all about him, wasn't it? He was going really quick. 2 fastest laps of the day or of the weekend on the trot. This was the merge. Baumanis brave, but look, he's running around the outside, gets into that dust, struggling for grip. A little bit of room on both sides, but Ekstrom was the one, and that's going to stand him in good stead for the rest of the day.
Matthias, your place in the semi-finals was almost guaranteed anyway, but you certainly weren't holding back there.
No, we tried everything we could, and start was okay. I got a good takeaway, so that was okay, but the fast guys are coming now, so we'll see what they will do, but I'm happy with my run.
There's a little bit of a dent on your door. Did you feel an impact there?
I saw Timosjanov came with his rear fender, rear bumper into my door, but that's Rallycross, and it was exciting.
Thank you, good luck.
Cheers.
On then to the final race of Q4. The 2 VWs are in here. Ekstrom's teammate as well, Danny Sordo, factory Hyundai World Rally Championship driver. Could we possibly see him in a Hyundai in World Rallycross at some point? Niklas Gronholm, look on the outside of the grid in the new Hyundai i20 XWRC machine. Inside him, Christopherson, the #1 on the car, the world champion. Andreas Backer, Ekstrom's teammate. Ekstrom's just been on a flyer. Can Backer match that? Timmy Hansen in the Peugeot. Solberg on the inside in the other Polo. They are going to be chasing down the target time of Matthias Ekstrom, 3:21.8. The track is dry. The grid's a bit dusty still, so I still think we may be seeing some random practice starts and start performances. You maybe can't quite get the RPM dead right, looking at how dirty the back of the grid is. Christopherson, his visor down, so this is serious time. Early for the VWs on the anti-lag. Wait, you'll hear the other engine notes join in much later. There they are, so different start procedures away. It's a really even start. Christopherson straight in the side of backward. He drove into him. Solberg gets a squeeze on the inside. Backwards come off there. Hansen makes it up into P2, but Solberg gets away. Christopherson now in the side of backward again. These two are really going at it in the background. Hard. Christopherson turned in on him.
Yeah, but how lucky was Solberg? That car is very strong. That was a big hit into his right front wheel, which was really sparked off by Christopherson, not really given enough room.
There isn't any room.
obviously Bakkerud and Kristoffersson had that coming together in Q3 on the Joker
yes.
merge. Is that a bit of bad blood starting to come into
Kristoffersson
it?
was penalised for it, wasn't he, as well? Because the stewards did decide that he was borderline track limits.
I get it. You want to be aggressive. You want to get track position, but equally at this stage of the weekend, you need to get through it cleanly. And it would have been a different story if his contact had resulted in Solberg with broken suspension. So very lucky with that. That was a big hit for Solberg.
Unusual as well from Kristoffersson to see that. So there we go. But we want to see these guys race hard. That is what we're here for. Bakkerud is on a go slow. Is he up the hill? Bakkerud's at the back of the pack. Oh, he's joking. Sorry. But
I think it's just track position.
Okay, so Bakkerud's Joker as fast as track Solberg.
But we have seen on the first lap of the race, because they're exiting from the tarmac, Hansen ducks out to clear out, and Kristoffersson as well. So he would have felt he was getting held up by Gronholm.
And there's a slight reaction there as well too, isn't there, to Bakkerud? So Bakkerud's going to end up down in P5, so he dropped back. Hansen though was right on the back of Solberg because it looked like a last-minute decision. Did he feel he was being held up?
Yeah, it's one of those. Obviously, you're waiting on the spotter to tell you, but if you feel and you make that quick decision, the only thing obviously you don't know is how quick or slow people are going behind to where you'll then slot out.
These cars are strong, aren't they? We saw very little contact yesterday break the rear suspension of Sebastian Loeb's Peugeot, and to me there we've seen hard contact between the Audis and the VWs, and the cars all seem to have come out of it unscathed.
Yeah, some of it is how you catch it. You can have a small touch, but if it's at the wrong angle, it will just rip the wheel off. That was a very big hit, but it's going to be interesting on the merge, because we saw yesterday in the wet it was about 4 seconds for the difference. Timmy is 3.3 back, so
he's gone sideways though. Timmy was sideways. Sorry, Andrew, gets on the throttle early, ends up in the dust. It looked like it was going to be really close, but has he lost too much time there?
He was half a second up, it looked there, but it's so hard because he will being told you've got to push to the maximum to try and get the undercut on it, and it's so hard in these conditions to just drop a wheel offline into that dust.
We've been concentrating on the battle between VW and Audi. Had they closed the gap? Had Peugeot managed to close the gap as well? So Hansen again with a little bit sideways out of the bottom hairpin. Petter Solberg leads this from Niklas Gronholm, who we haven't talked about either. Gronholm still to Joker in a great position of P8 after Q3. This is what it comes down to. Joker lap time for Solberg. Solberg dives in. Gronholm will go after him. Watch for Hansen. Hansen round the double left-hander. I don't think he's close enough. He's going to try. Oh, is he going to hold the inside line? Solberg's going to go for him, but he can't get him. Timmy Hansen, brilliant. Even with that sideways on the previous lap, he takes the lead in the final race of Q4. Solberg and Kristoffersson, the world champion, has made up all that time behind. Brilliant stuff. So down the hill now, the target time 3:21.8 is Ekstrom. So has Ekstrom got this, or can Timmy Hansen get it for Peugeot right at the end of the session? On the gas, Solberg tries to go inside, can't find the traction. Hansen's done it. Timmy Hansen wins Q4 by 1.5 seconds, and I'm not sure we saw that coming. Dry conditions, the top cars are super close, and we are hopefully going to have a mega year of World Rallycross Championship action. Brilliant.
That was a cracking drive, wasn't it? As you say, have any of us really seen it coming? We've been talking about VW versus Audi, Ekstrom versus Kristoffersson, but Peugeot are here as well, aren't they?
Brilliant. Timmy Hansen takes Q4 3:20.2. Solberg and Kristoffersson P2 and P3. Niklas Gronholm, I'm impressed as well with the pace of this Hyundai. We know they're short on testing. Bakkerud down at the back. I think Bakkerud was a little bit hard done by there personally. Those guys, though, slot in, and look, that's a mark of how quick they are. They're all in the top 6, and Ekstrom's time with that big push only good enough for P4. It's Timmy Hansen who takes it for Peugeot. Fantastic stuff. So we're going to have the overall standings for qualifying coming up soon. That is done. We have the semi-finals and the final to come.
Timmy, the big smile on your face says it all. We were watching the battle between Audi and Volkswagen, and then you just stole it.
Yeah, what laps we put in, a really good Joker strategy. And I'm having to push, I'm having to work. Doesn't come easy for sure, but good launch, big mess there in the first corner. But wow, it feels good to be fast.
And you're quite sideways at times, but still quick.
Yeah, but that was not on purpose, I think, but I'm handling it. I mean, it's feeling comfortable here. I'm working hard, but got us here.
See you in the semis.
Thank you.
Well, Hansen, what a brilliant, brilliant drive. Look at this, though.
So that was Kristoffersson started coming over. Then you get a little bit hooked together. You don't know until you're in the car what's actually going on. But I'd say Kristoffersson started edging over a little bit.
Did you think he got a better start than he had? I mean, yeah, but then, you know, he ran over as well. He ran over the front wheel arch.
No, we just got that a little bit too late to see actually on board from the very start. maybe later on we can actually get a look at that. But it was Solberg we were all really focused on, aren't we? Timmy was on a bit of a mission. He made that mistake, look, dropped the wheel wide. That cost him some time, then cost him the drive off it. But there was the merge, and yes, it was close, but it was all Timmy Hansen. He put in some really quick laps. Solberg in charge, but I tell you what, we didn't see that coming, did we? Peugeot are here and they're a threat for the season, that's for sure.
Absolutely fantastic. Here are the standings then after Q4, and that brilliant drive from Timmy Hansen, taking the win in the last session, has put him up to P2 behind Petter Solberg, who takes the first top qualifier spot of 2018, the Volkswagen, where it was at the end of last year. Kristoffersen in P3, the world champion, had a good performance, but saw a slightly unusual decision from him there in Q4, shutting the door so quickly on Baccarat. Ekstrom and Baccarat, the Audi teammates, are in P4 and P5 together. Niklas Gronholm, what a debut for the Hyundai, up in 6th. Larsen as well, that's the OMSE Fiesta. Yanis Palmanis, that is the Start Fiesta. So we're seeing a real mixture of teams up there. Timos Yarnov, both the Hyundais have made it. Grosset Janin and Gulan Shisharit, both the GCK machines have made it. The Renault Meganes built by Prodrive. Kevin Hansen just scrapes in P12. Sebastian Loeb and Kevin Eriksson are the two big drivers who've missed out on a slot in the semi-finals at round 1. Well, we're coming to you live from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. What a qualifying we've had. Andrew Jordan, not a surprise as such, but I think everybody had their eyes on VW, you know, and now suddenly, you know, Audi, we kind of thought, oh, maybe they'd be there. Peugeot seemed to be the dark horse. That was a mega time from Timmy Hansen in the conditions I thought would play into VW's hands.
It was, and this time of year we all want to see, don't we? We want to see who's going to take the fight to VW. Are Audi going to step it up over the whole year? Are Peugeot going to be there? And so far it looks like everyone's there for the fight with VW.
Cannot wait for semi-finals and finals coming up soon as well.
The same, like 20 or 30 seconds.
Well, Jerome Grosset-Janin down on the grid there in his GCK Prodrive Talk. Of course, the Prodrive company in the UK building those cars. There is Timmy Hansen up at the front. A heat haze. I mean, this is so completely different. If you've been watching over the whole weekend, you'll know it's just been absolutely pouring with rain and wet, and then today is boiling hot. So really, really mixed conditions. Neil Cole is in the pre-grid.
Gerlan, two brand new cars in a brand new championship for you, and both of them have made it through to the semi-finals. You must be happy with that progress so far.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, you know. We had so much pressure when you arrive here because we had some expectation, but we didn't know where we were, you know, and then to be on the semi-final, even with a really, really hard day yesterday, because yesterday everything could happen, and I was struggling with some issue I had with my car, but now we are where we are supposed to be, so semi-final, everything can happen.
Yeah, and of course you're on the back row of the grid, but we can see turn 1 is tricky, and Joker strategy, anything could happen over the next 6 laps.
Yeah, anyway, you know, we are on the back of the grid, so the only thing I can do is just to be aggressive, take my chance, and nothing to lose really, so let's see what we can do if we can manage to go to the final.
And the same plan for Jerome?
Yeah, exactly the same plan.
Okay, you need to get in the car now, thank you.
Shisharit going to get in the car. Meanwhile, we have a look into the window of Kristoffersen's #1 marked vehicle. Kristoffersen made a couple of decisions during qualifying which I think were unusual. He was 3rd, 5th, 4th and 3rd. You can't read too much into yesterday's qualifying because of the conditions, but Andrew Jordan, you know, great to see. You've defended a title, and I know that's, you know, it's not that easy, is it?
No, it's not. And, you know, Johann's obviously done a huge amount of winning in all of his career, but coming here with the #1 on the car, he's the man to beat. There's that added pressure, added expectation that he's expected to win from VW and from the Petter Solberg team. He is expected to win. He took 7 wins last year, which is crazy to think in a World Championship to take 7 wins. So he's the one to catch. But as we've seen, as you say, Saturday qualifying was very tricky with the conditions, but Petter seems to be absolutely on it this year. He seems very relaxed around the paddock, like he's enjoying it. So they're the ones to beat, obviously, after a year like last year. But I think with the Hyundai we can see here, we've got a good variety, some good cars, good teams and good drivers. And this time of the year when it's all mixed up a bit, I can't wait to see who's going to be the one to take it to them.
No, me too. We've got a grid full of potential winners, and it won't be long before we find out who's going to take home the first big trophy of the year. It has been a long wait, 153 days away from competition between South Africa and Barcelona, but finally 2018 is go. We've had some incredible qualifying sessions over the last couple of days, and we are ready for our first semi-finals and finals of the year. My name is Andrew Coley. Joining me on commentary is Andrew Jordan. Neil Cole, as always, is reporting from the paddock. They are the Monster Energy girls, and they're getting ready to go out on the grid, where they will be showing you where each of these cars sit. So let's have a look and see what's happened through the course of the 4 qualifiers and who has got the points. So bottom end, first of all, Sebastian Loeb and Kevin Eriksson have not made it, and that's a bit of a shocker for them. Remember, the top 16 get points, only the top 12 go through. They are then split odds and even. So Solberg up with the top qualifier, Timmy Hansen was second, Johan Kristoffersen third, Ekstrom, Backerud in the Audis up there, Gronholm in the Hyundai, great stuff, Larson, OMSE Ford, Baumanis is in the start Ford, Timosyanov in the other Hyundai, both the GCK Megans, and Kevin Hansen made the cut on qualifying. So the semi-finals are Solberg and Kristoffersen on the front row for 1. That's going to be interesting. Backerud, him and Kristoffersen have come together a few times together already. Larson is always aggressive, Timosyanov and Shishrit, and semi-final 2, look, Hansen and Ekstrom, who of course have had their differences in the past too. There's Timmy about to jump into the car. His mum's wishing him good luck. Neil Cole was down on the pre-grid earlier and caught up with Matthias Ekstrom. So let's hear his thoughts ahead of the semis.
So Matthias, you've got yourself on the front row of semi-final 2 for the first round here in Barcelona. That's the drag down to the new turn 1. What's the strategy for the race?
A good start. I mean, we've been struggling a bit with the starts. Not really IKEA standard, I have to say. Last year we had really good ones, so we struggled a bit. So we hope we got things right now and sorted out to have a clean takeaway and a clean turn 1, and then just let's see how much pace we have.
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Semi-final number 1 lining up on the grid. The VW is where we expected to see them, at the front of the grid, but today has proved that possibly they don't have quite the advantage that they have last year, and let's be honest, that's what we want to see. Unless you're Johan Kristoffersen or Peter Solberg, we want to see some decent fights. They were brilliant last year. It's to take nothing away from them, but we want to see some fights in the World Rallycross Championship. So let's see the lineup for the first semi-final of the year. Double World Rallycross champion, previous World Rally champion Peter Solberg on pole, with the current World Rallycross champion carrying the number 1, his teammate alongside him. Brand new tyres for both. Row 2, Andreas Backerud and Robin Larson, 2 young hard chargers who are eager to take that title, and they've both been quick this weekend. And on row 3, Timothy Mizyanov and Gulan Shisharit. Great to see the Hyundai i20 and the GCK Megane RS have such a good performance here at the first round. Will they take the risks? Not surprising to see new tyres on all the cars because we had such atrocious weather yesterday. We've got lots of tyre news for you about new regulations as well, which might see some of the tyre choices spiced up later on in the season. But we'll bring that to you once the racing is underway, which they're taking their merry time with right now. I think the girls are about to leave the grid there. They are on board with Kristoffersen. Kristoffersen has got the Spain Catalan flag on his gloves. So relaxed, but with the visor down. Visor always goes down when the pressure's on for Kristoffersen. There, cars into gear, so maybe we're now getting ready to go. Here we are. Okay, then, listen for the VWs. We've noticed their anti-lag comes on much earlier. Wait for the low no. Green light and away to Solberg. Kristoffersen, brilliant start by them in the background. Timosyanov moves to the inside. Shisharit's done well too. Larson is the one with the worst start. It is Solberg who leads. I think Backerud might have got the best of Kristoffersen on the run up the hill. Kristoffersen maybe on the inside as they head onto the ground, but he doesn't. He has to slot into P3, and Backerud has made it up into 2nd place.
Yeah, it looked like Backerud is in the back of Kristoffersen there. Obviously, there's no love lost with these two guys after what's happened in Q3 and 4, but on board with Kristoffersen over the jump there. Is he going to go Joker now? I think they're going to go with the first two, try and get a bit of a gap so he can slide into clear traffic.
Shisharit goes straight to the Joker lap. Remember, Shisharit's spotter is David Mansfield, who used to spot for Backerud. Mansfield quite highly rates in the paddock at the minute. He's decided to take Shisharit out, and then they can see what they can do in terms of the lap. So Solberg leading. We can hit someone on the limiter through that long left-hander here. The conditions, look at this. We've now got what we call blue groove conditions. conditions where the rubber has actually been laid down on the dirt section track. Yesterday it was a quagmire.
And it is getting quicker and quicker, isn't it? We've seen as the circuit's been drying, but also through the European semi-finals, the track is getting quicker and quicker. But is it going to be VW they're all chasing? At the minute, Solberg's been the foreman this weekend for me. The conditions yesterday really expertised him. They're jumping further. We saw earlier, didn't we? They weren't jumping that far. But now what's going to be interesting, look, the three of them are getting away a little bit. Is Kristoffersson going to look at Joker in as
Schischerit's going to get Larson here, so Schischerit's got Larson. Oh, Larson, of course, had the worst of the start, so he hasn't managed to gain any time. My bad there. Kristoffersson's right up the back here.
I think we might see him Joker quite soon. So fastest lap of the day so far is 45.2. Look how close Kristoffersson gets to that tyre blade. It's just such precision through these sort of change directions here. Is it a little tug on the handbrake, get the car rotated, start to build the throttle, grab a gear, get the car straight. But are we going to see Kristoffersson go to the Joker?
So exciting to see these cars in full grip conditions again, absolutely unleashing the power when you get to stand up close to the track, as we were lucky enough to do yesterday. Oh, it's just wonderful. Over the jump, then surely Kristoffersson to the Joker lap now. Was he going to hang on? He hangs on.
Looking at the time screen, he has it. Earlier on, it was about 3.3 we saw with Timmy Hansen, which brought him out in the lead. He hasn't quite got that to Timijano, so what they don't want to do, although he might be getting held up, or he feels he's getting held up a little bit by Bakkerud, they don't want to drop him then behind Timijano in the Hyundai, and maybe he gets held up even more.
I can't make the semi.
It's not ideal now, but just keep going at this sort of pace.
So basically top three, yeah, you don't want to risk the chance of being fourth and not making it through. It's better to go through to the back row of the final, isn't it? What are you looking at, Andrew?
Getting his head down now. He's gapped them a couple of tenths in sector one, so this is really playing into Petter's hands.
Bakkerud and Kristoffersson then being relatively gentlemanly compared to the action earlier on today. Another fastest lap of the day for Petter Solberg. He's on a massive push now. We know they're all on brand new tyres. This time, does he have enough of a gap or not? And he doesn't. He still follows him in. Timizyanov, to me, is almost getting nearer to them.
Yeah, he is, but Kristoffersson's got to be careful. It's who you're racing, isn't it? But Petter was 0.7 of a second quicker than the last lap, so you think Bakkerud's holding Kristoffersson up a little bit. But you can see there's a little bit of damage on the front of the Audi, I think, from turn one.
So this is your first time watching the World Rallycross Championship. Remember, we take a Joker lap in every race. The qualifying races are 4 laps, the semi-finals and the finals are 6. Top left of your screen, the tick denotes the drivers who have taken the lap, as we see Kristoffersson finally give Bakkerud a nudge. He wants to find a way through, but he can't. He's having to follow. Timizyanov hasn't jokered either, Andrew, so they can all wait till the last lap if they want. But that does see Johan on the back row. The world champion would like to be further up the grid.
Yeah, I wonder if Johan will go now. I'll probably be proved wrong, but if he goes now, no. So he does. Late call, but now I was going to say, even if he did go, he'd still come out far enough behind Timizyanov to try and put in a really stellar lap and undercut Bakkerud.
That's a late decision, though. He could have had a quicker Joker there by we're talking a 10th or 2 tenths, but if he'd gone Joker instead of brake and then tweaked out, he's lost time.
If he knew he was going to Joker and you hold back a little bit the corner previous, you've got that then little bit of room you can accelerate into the Joker.
So does that indicate that maybe he's made that decision for himself just at the last second?
He's probably got bored of being sat behind the Audi and thought, I'm going, I need to try and get past him.
Yeah, I don't care what my Joker man says, what my spotter says, I'm off. There is Nanny Roma, Monster Energy athlete, watching the action. He's been racing a buggy here this weekend, which will have a much more pleasant experience today. Solberg backs it in, off the jump and down. Bakkerud follows him in, the 2 Norwegians in. Now Kristoffersson, this is about the chase for second place. Bakkerud's going to try and go around the outside, but Kristoffersson's got him by a significant margin in just 1 lap. Bakkerud, though, on the gas, trying to come around the outside, backs the Audi in, looks to the inside, he's right up behind him. But Johan Kristoffersson, that was a hell of a lap.
And that all came from that Joker, making that decision, going, getting in clear air, and then the hell of a lap to undercut him.
Brilliant job by him, buddy. Is Petter Solberg, the top qualifier here, who takes semi-final number 1. His teammate, the world champion, Kristoffersson, goes through in P2, and Bakkerud through 3rd. Great drive, great drive by Solberg, but what a lap from Kristoffersson, because that, for me, wasn't even really that close at the Joker lap merge. He was significantly in front. The Bakkerud fans are happy, of course, he's made it through to the final. It was a clean run as well. Solberg, though, on absolutely fantastic form, taking the win in semi-final number 1. Petter Solberg from Johan Kristoffersson, Andreas Bakkerud 3rd. Going no further this weekend, but I think with great performances at round 1, Timizyanov, Gulan Schischerit and Robin Larsson. Well, let's take a look back at some of the action from that first semi-final. Really good start by Solberg.
So let's try and keep an eye. Look, there's a bit of contact there. Was that Bakkerud into Kristoffersson? Opens up a small gap. Obviously, Kristoffersson was trying to cover it, but he's got to be a bit careful. It's his teammate. Contact there between the Megane and Larsson. this on board with Kristoffersson, trying to get it up there. No, he has to bail out.
He knew, and particularly because it's so dirty offline this weekend in particular with the mud we had, tarmac or gravel offline, the jump's massive.
But with Kristoffersson there, it's semi-final number 1 of the year. You've got to get to the end, so you've got to know when someone's put a move on you. Will he be a bit annoyed about the contact at turn 1? Who knows? But on board Kristoffersson now, you can see, does he make the Joker lap decision on his own? Down a couple of gears, a little bit on the handbrake, nice and relaxed, as we always see with Johan, just keeps the car tucked in. Don't want to clip any of these tyres, obviously. That's big damage there, but it was all about Solberg, wasn't it? He was really on one in that race.
Yeah, brilliant job. Well, crowd will have enjoyed that very definitely. They'll be enjoying everything a lot more than they were yesterday because the umbrellas are up today because it is a lovely day for round 1 of the World Rallycross Championship. Cars are down in the pre-grid for semi-final number 2, and this is the one where we need to see which of the drivers is going to appear in this, because Kevin Hansen has qualified 12th and Sebastian Loeb 13th, so might we see Kevin withdrawn? We'll have to see. Neil Cole's in the spotters tower.
Well, that was a great result for Andreas Backward. Certainly a little bit of contact around there, but he's through to the final.
Yeah, that was absolutely a great start of the season. I mean, now we have him in the final soon, hopefully Matthias as well. Andreas did absolutely amazing, a really good start, and he's really good in this sport off the start line, I must say.
And it's a great start for him in a brand new team, brand new car. He's adapted really well.
Yeah, he's a super guy. I mean, so he adapted well, worked well with the engineers and the guys in the team, so it's good to have him on board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ekstrom there, Backward's teammate, of course. We're going to be able to have a look back, I think, at some of the action from semi-final number 1. So this is Kristoffersson's on board. Andrew Jordan, what can you tell us from this?
Second gear start, you can hear great traction. Petr just beat there, a bit of a whack in the back, turns him sideways, and that's just enough to open up the door. Look, there appears Andreas Backward. He keeps fighting it, but you can see, look, the dark gravel on the right, that's where it's been really wet yesterday.
What is Karma here? Why do you think he made some slightly uncharacteristic decisions during qualifying? Is it just that I want to get at it? Is it too long away from the racing?
He wants to win, but it's such a fine line of being aggressive or then getting a penalty, and obviously you don't want to get too many penalties through the season, and equally at this point of the year you don't want to make too many enemies.
So this is now on to the last lap. We're going to be able to have a look possibly at the Kristoffersson chase on Backward. Look for Backward here in the front. So this was this incredible lap from Kristoffersson, and we think he took that Joker, didn't we, possibly opportunistically because of the way he jinked out from behind Backward. And look at this, and Backward is going into the Joker lap now. Watch for Kristoffersson. He was behind Backward, and look how far in front he is here. I mean, I say how far, relatively.
Yeah, it was easier than we thought, but we say, was it an opportunist? You know, did he just decide to do it, or was it a late call or a call? Whatever Andreas does, you do the opposite. So we saw Andreas was going the normal lap, then he quickly switched it out to the Joker.
Brilliant job, wasn't it, to get it done? You can hear the overrun on the anti-lag there. Solberg, though, was untouched. You wondered, don't you, if he'd have had a harder time if Kristoffersson had clear air, because if he can make up that amount of time in one lap, then potentially he might have been right on the boot lid of his teammate. Either way, it was a really good semi-final number 1. We've got our first half of our finalists gone through, and it won't be long before we find out who the other 2 drivers are going to be. Semi-final number 2 is coming up. Looking forward to seeing whether the battle in this one is as exciting as it was in semi-final number 1. Really also looking forward to seeing who's actually going to make it to the grid. Hansen rolling up for pole in semi-final number 2. Timmy Hansen, of course, a DNF in Q1, and then overnight, well, basically he got P2 in Q2, which stuck him right up, I think, into 7th place. He was second again in Q3, and then he won Q4. So actually, Hansen's kind of gone about his business quietly since the disaster of Q1. And we kind of haven't noticed, you know, because he's been second, so, oh, look who's won, and then suddenly he's right up there.
But I remember a couple of years ago we watched him on board of Timmy Hansen, and he looked quite steady, and then we saw the time come in, and it was blisteringly quick. So he obviously goes very well. He's nice and neat and tidy, isn't he? Very meticulous about his work. And obviously, an interesting one for the Hanson boys this year, with it not being run by the Hanson family's team, being run by Peugeot Sports. So the Hanson boys are obviously very quick.
Look at the brutality of the
great,
lot,
isn't it? It's the best thing ever.
It is the best thing ever, isn't it? I know Andrew Jordan is desperate to be back in one of these cars. We hope to see that soon. Ekstrom just relaxes for a moment. Now, what we're really keen to see is what happens at the back of this grid. The reason for that is that Kevin Hansen, Kevin Hansen's qualified in 12th place, and Sebastian Loeb qualified in 13th. And I don't know whether or not we're going to see. Well, we're going to wait and see. Okay, Timmy Hansen on pole position from Matthias Ekstrom. These two have got form before, but we'll see how they get on in the final here. Ekstrom, interestingly, has chosen only to take 2 new ones on the front, but the used ones on the rear will only have done a few laps. Row 2, Niklas Gronholm, great weekend for him. Yanis Baumanis as well, an individual entrant, remember, Baumanis, for start. He's right up there, it's a good performance, brand new tyres. And row 3 is Sebastian Loeb, so Peugeot, either a problem with Kevin Hansen's car or has it been withdrawn? Tactical reasons we're hearing, so tactical reasons, Sebastian Loeb. Of course, remember, Loeb is nominated for teams points, so we can understand that this is a team sport.
That's the big point, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and from Kevin Hansen's point of view, yes, he'll be disappointed. But
he will
when people are
recognise
paying you to do this, you've got to do the best thing for the team and what they say.
I think it might have been different as well if he'd been P7. Or maybe not, because it still would have
I still don't think it would, because he's not scoring points for the team championship. So that's just the way it is. And
so suck it up.
He'll be gutted, but get on with it. That's the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So that, of course, is the disadvantage of being a third driver in a big team compared to Baumanis and Tabistio, who run an individual entry on their own. Okay, here we go. Semi-final number 2. The marshal at the front of the grid, giving them all the thumbs up. Timmy Hansen, right of your screen on the front row. Matthias Ekstrom, middle of your screen on the front row. Can anyone get it hooked up well from the rear? Sebastian Loeb's in a nice position here if he can get a good start, because he can see what happens on the inside. We've seen throughout the various classes that run here today, people are starting to dive across to the inside line, desperate to try and protect their position into this new tight left-hander at turn 1. Look at that, that's the front corner of Timmy Hansen's car, and you can see with the decals, the wrap is being pulled off the car, and that's because they're rubbing that front bumper up against the barriers around this track. Pre-grid buzzing in the background. You can see Kevin Hansen's car far left at the rear in front of the white awning, the yellow 208. Sitting there, looking a little forlorn, as I'm sure Kevin is, but that's the way it goes. Good to see he was on the pace to make it through to the semis of his own accord. It's a long hold, and it is hot here now. Here we go. Finally, thumbs up for semi-final number 2. Anti-lag on, ready to race. Watch for the orange light to go out. Random gap to green. Here we go. Smoke there, possibly from Ekstrom's car on the line. Ekstrom runs really, really wide, gives himself plenty of room. Up inside, so Baumanis has made it all the way through to P3. Has it contact? Loeb almost in the wall. Ekstrom, as we've got smoke coming up the inside left of Timmy Hansen. In the background, Sebastian Loeb does end up in P6, and it's Grosjean that's the big winner.
Ekstrom, the big loser out of that, wasn't he? He swung out wide to look to get a bit of a run on Hansen on the outside, but then he got barreled up the inside. Grosjean's come through, there's Gronholm through to the joke that. But the thing we missed as well was Baumanis steamed it up the inside of Ekstrom into turn 2.
Interesting. So we can see smoke. Do you see in the distance? There's smoke.
It's off the back of Hansen. So I think there's some contact at turn 1, which has put the bodywork onto his rear tyre.
We need to watch out then potentially. Remember, this is a 6-lap race. It's unlikely, but we have seen punctures could run through before.
That's quite bad as well. There's a lot of smoke, and he'll smell that. You can smell that in the car, so you'll know straight away. You'll have felt a whack at the back, but you can smell that. So he'll just be praying for no puncture.
So good result so far for Grosjean to get to where he is now. Watch Matthias Ekstrom, because for me on the previous lap, you saw him almost look to Joker, and then he clocked it. 2 cars went in. He's like, no, I'm not going to go now. So I don't know if he would have enough of a gap, but if he waits behind Baumanis too long, if he feels he's faster, Baumanis goes, that releases Ekstrom.
He was hesitant there, I think. Like you say, he was waiting to see what Baumanis did. This is going to be a close merge.
Baumanis on the merge, trying to come around the outside. He gets Loeb. Will he get Gronholm too? Gronholm holds the inside line. Baumanis was brave around the outside of Timosianov. Loeb late on the brakes, tries to go up the inside. The nose of the Peugeot's right there. He's bashing into the back of Baumanis. Baumanis holds on though, and Gronholm holds the position. So these 3 guys have all joked, and the 3 up front have not.
That's good driving from them. That was good spatial awareness, because Baumanis tried to sweep it around the outside of both of them, got in the dirty stuff, then covered off Loeb, and Loeb gave him just enough room into the next corner. That was good hard racing.
good stuff. Sebastian Loeb stands to pick up a point here, which is, you know, I suppose that's what they want in the championship hunt. You can understand the decision they've made. I think what's interesting is, could we see one of the GCK cars go through to the final? We do see Ekstrom go Joker. Needs to get the hammer down now, try and come out in front of Gronholm. Gronholm can block him off, he's going to run it wide. Ekstrom, ex-world champion, shows his class on the gas, round the outside and back into P3. Now he's got to chase him down, and applause from his teammate Bakarud.
That was proper, wasn't it? I think Gronholm overdid it a little bit. I think he was trying to back it up a little so he could get to the inside and force Ekstrom to the outside, but Ekstrom, very brave, carried great speed. That was critical for him going through to the final.
He's all smiles, Ekstrom. I saw him yesterday. We walked back from the press conference's truck together. He said, "Oh, walk with me down the back of the trucks, away from everyone." He was smiling. I think he feels they've got the pace. He said, "I know we've got the pace in the wet after today," and he has that capacity, Andrew, as we know. Here we go. Grosjean goes off to try and protect the position, but Ekstrom has the capacity to be aware of where the other cars are. Watch what he does here. He'll hold a reasonable line. He doesn't even need to. And Gronholm's going to get Grosjean in. Contact Grosjean in the rear wheel. He's going to drop loads of time, and that's any chance of going through gone. He was P4. It looked like it could have been P3. He drops to the back of the pack after contact at the Joker lap exit. Timmy Hansen now the only driver not
Timmy
to a
Hansen
Joker.
again, quietly going about his business. His best lap on his previous lap is only a 10th off. No, actually, I stand corrected. It's the same time as Solberg did in the previous semi-final.
Not only that, but look, all his laps are within 2/10 of each other. So Timmy Hansen really consistently pushing out front. Of course, away from this, in the background, Sebastian Loeb looks up the inside, but we want to see Hansen. The flat gun metal grey coloured Peugeot is absolutely miles in front. He's checked out. He's in a different postcode, and Hansen has done a really, really good job.
Spot on job. But we've got a fight, haven't we? Because Ekstrom on the previous lap has done the quickest lap of anyone. So we've got 3 guys out of Hansen, Solberg and Ekstrom, and don't count out Kristoffersson, all quick enough to win.
Cannot wait to see the final. We've got a fight on our hands. Timmy Hansen up on the gravel section coming down. He's going slowly. Hansen, I thought he was going slowly. Hansen's got a problem. He was going to win the second semi-final. He's gone. Will he make it to the line? He's going to get pushed around. Who's going to go through? The timing screen show Gronholm and Baumanis. Ekstrom, Gronholm, Baumanis. I saw Hansen. Sorry, last lap. I thought that was the last lap. Hansen's gone from the lead, and I've completely lost it. I thought there was one. I thought we were on the last lap.
I think Loeb's come up to second now. Loeb's right up there.
He's
Loeb's second. So Peugeot's gamble of taking Kevin Hansen out of it is paid off.
Totally paid off after the carnage of his own teammate coming out the lead. So I was convinced we were on the last lap. I saw Hansen in the background of the shot rolling through the chicane at the top of the hill. I thought he had a problem, looked out the window and he was going slowly. One of them got him on the way down the hill, the other's got him down the bottom corner. Yellow flag's out for Ekstrom. He's going to have to take a different line. Hansen is sitting in the car, watching the position go away from him. Ekstrom takes the win from Loeb, who was P13 5 minutes ago, and he's now in the final. And Gronholm goes through in the brand new Hyundai into the final for the very first time. What a semi-final 2 here in Barcelona. That's how you start a world championship,
isn't it? Gutted for Hansen, though.
Mental note to self: 6 laps for semi-final. But you get caught up. You know, I saw. He knows. He knows.
That's the worst feeling, because he was a lap away from going through to the final, and as I just previously said, had the pace to take it to Solberg in the final. So I think that's something mechanical. That's not down to the tyre, because he would have carried on.
Here we go. Ekstrom with the win from Sebastian Loeb, who, as I say, was P13 just 5 minutes ago. They withdrew Kevin Hansen. Loeb got in. It's worked out. Gronholm goes through to third. Baumanis is out. Grosjean might have been further up were it not for that contact at the Joker lap merge. But you have to feel sorry for Timmy Hansen. I think we were on for a 3-way manufacturer battle there between Audi, VW and Peugeot, and now that's left in Sebastian Loeb's hands rather than the 4-man this weekend for Peugeot, Timmy Hansen, who is out. Woo. So, a little bit of damage to the front right, Andrew, but you think that's
that's from where he got turned around after the problem, I do, because he had a bit of a hard time then. Obviously, everyone's come in and he's got the problem. He got turned around there.
We occasionally glance out the window, so we obviously see the pictures you guys see at home. And I can't remember if it was the back of a shot or from the window that I saw him going slowly. And occasionally you go, oh, he's going slowly, and you're not sure if he is or not. We'll see if we see it in the replays. He's suddenly going slowly.
So let's keep an eye on Ekstrom in the Audi. Look, he swings straight out wide. Very brave that he's not going to get anyone at the inside, but then all the contact, everyone's pushing. Loeb's in the back, Baumanis is in the back of him. Then big contact there with Gronholm. Gronholm couldn't really do anything about that, but keep an eye on Baumanis here, look, in the orange Fiesta. Up the inside.
Fair play.
Move, but he got it stuck in, he got it there.
But that actually ran Ekstrom wide and he dropped another place. This was Grosjean's contact.
Just misjudged that slightly, didn't he? Just misjudged it,
Just a
and
tiny
that really
bit.
ruined his race.
Loeb gets through, but Loeb's still at the minute not there. Here's Hansen going slowly. So this is the key. Watch for Hansen. So Hansen gets turned around by basically Baumanis, and Loeb goes inside. We go on board with Hansen, and that's where it happened. So Loeb, oh no, Timmy. Words are not necessary with pictures like that. There's your win. Hansen sitting in the car as Ekstrom goes through. Loeb had gone left and made it. So did Gronholm, and Baumanis could possibly have made it if he'd have gone left too. Oh, it's a lottery. Wow. Wow. Right, Neil Cole is down in the paddock and he's with Andreas Backerud from EKS RX, so we're going to go and have a chat with him. Let's hear Andreas' thoughts ahead of the final.
Wow, that second semi-final was a bit more dramatic than yours, but congratulations on your first weekend with this new team. You're into the final.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be in the final. You know, we have fighted hard this weekend, been a bit lucky, but sometimes you need to be lucky as well. So hopefully I can pick up some more pace. I'm not 100% happy with my own pace yet, but that I think will come, and I think I need just to take step by step and have fun. You know, it's great to be here in Barcelona. Yesterday was a mud race, and today was sun is shining, and my Backerud Blue fans have got some tan, so that's good.
And your car's right behind us, just pulled in, ready to go to the pre-grid. Looks like it's in really good shape. Anything needing to be changed or fixed?
No, we're trying some different setup stuff to see if we can pick up some more speed, and hopefully we can be up there fighting for some champagne, you know.
Well, we'll see you very shortly in the final.
Thank you.
Oh, there's Timmy walking back with Kevin. And actually, I feel really sorry for both of them. So Kevin, to Peugeot's credit, you know, it's worked the right way for them because Sebastian Loeb's ended up in when they had a problem with the car, and that's the way it is. Let's hope it's not an engine, because they only get 2 for the year now. But you know, that was an incredible. Timmy was miles out front. I was ready to call the finish. I thought it was lap 6. It was only 5, but he's gutted. Kevin will be disappointed, but they can take from it the fact that the Peugeot is rapid. Here we go.
He's on board with Ekstrom, so he swings it out wide. Different thing to do. Tips it in there, wait for it. You can see a little bit of contact there. He's wide, he's sideways. Then he gets a big whack, goes really side. Lots of wheel spin, and look, there'll be a car appear from the right over the dirt. He thinks he's got it covered. Bang. So to be fair, that wasn't. Yes, there was a rub there, but there's a gap there, but that's really put him wide. Gronholm's through then. So now we'll be frustrated. He'll now be after Baumanis.
Watch for this, because this is the point that he looks like it's going to go Joker. Look, oh no, somebody's gone, and he turns left. And I think
you've just got to be switched on. You've got to be patient. You've got to wait to see what people do. You can't be right on their bumper, and then it's too late to decide.
And that's what I was saying about Ekstrom walking back yesterday. Him and Kristoffersen have got this headspace. You know, some drivers are on the limit, and that's all they can do. And you got an Ekstrom and Kristoffersen, they're on the limit, and then I'll just save 10% of my awareness for Joker lap strategy or positioning of the other cars. He's on it, and he took the Joker at the right time, and you know, job well done. But 2 brilliant semi-finals. It's going to take a lot for the final to live up to that, it has to be said. Fantastic to be back underway with the FIA World Rallycross Championship, and we've got a couple of finals coming your way. European Rallycross Championship for supercars starts here. So these are the same machines that are used in the World Rallycross Championship, bar a couple of tiny technical details. Some of them may actually run exactly the same specifications they do in the World Championship. It's a 5-round series. The current champion, Anton Markand, is on the front row in that yellow and blue coloured car. So we can catch up with some of the main contenders ahead of the final for round 1. Barcelona sees the start of the FIA European Championship for supercars. The series will be fought out over 5 events, and after last year's stunning run to the top step of the podium, Anton Markand is back to defend his title.
course, I feel very proud of what I done and what the whole team were doing last year. I think what we especially did was that we were showing a good consistency over all 5 races. And I think that was really the main key to winning the championship. We should be quicker now this year than last year, but I think still the philosophy will need to be scoring good points in every weekend.
Markland has a real fight on his hands this year, especially with the addition of former World RX rival Reinis Nitic. The popular Latvian is hungry for victory and taking nothing for granted.
For sure, it's in World Rallycross there are I think permanent 18 drivers. For this race we have 28 drivers, and for sure it will not be like come race and win. It will be hard fight with many strong drivers around, and all small details matters. I feel much more relaxed than ever before, and I have really good team manager, Topi Heikkinen. We're working together, and I think that can help me as well.
Nitis is a good driver, so yes, I somehow feel a bit of pressure from them. They will be quick, but I'm also feeling very confident that the work we have done this winter really can bring us to the championship title this year as well.
Well, looking at qualifying this weekend, it is going to be a great fight between them. Anton Markland was Q2, Reinis Nitic was Q1. In fact, Reinis Nitic took 3 of the sessions. And this is the grid for the first final. So considering we filmed those guys on Friday, I think it was a pretty good guess from a very full entry field. Reinis Nitic on pole position for the first Euro RX final of the year. The reigning champion Anton Markland alongside him. Row 2, Ulrich Linnemann moving up from Super 1600. JB Dubourg changing teams over the winter. And at the back of the grid, Philip German and Peter Hedström. Hedström, of course, a regular in a supercar. German only more recently. But for me, this fight is going to be about those 2 at the front, whether or not they do anything silly or not. Markland not feeling too well this weekend, but how well can he get away from the line? Oh, it's a mega start from Linnemann in the background. The reaction time is unbelievable. Markland's gone backwards. Disaster. Nitic gets the whole shot behind the background. Contact from German on the inside. The front of the Beetle, you can see, is bent, and the wing is hanging off the side of Linnemann's car. It's Nitic who goes into the lead. And Markland went backwards, but Linnemann's reaction time, it looked incredible.
Linnemann in the white VW got a great start, but that just made Markland look even worse. You saw Markland's bike. He had to dip the clutch. He's now in the traffic, so he's going to be waiting to see who goes Joker. Yeah, there, he ducks out, doesn't do the Joker out.
Again, he had another look. You know, when you see just a slight jink, and if somebody goes in front of you, don't go, do you?
But look at the gap Nitic is putting in now. He's been really impressive this weekend. I watched his semi-final, and the way he's driving, he looks so relaxed. His times are so comparable with the World Championship guys. So I think this is a really good move for him. Almost come back to the European, try and put a championship tilt on that, try and win that, but he's driving really nicely.
So Set Promotion, of course, the team who are running this ex-Mark Niklas Gronholm Fiesta, which I believe was Ken Block's supercar prior to that, so it's an M-Sport built machine. We know it's a good piece of kit. Gronholm was using it last year and did okay with it. I have to say, Andrew Nitic has looked imperious here, like all day today. He's been on it.
He has,
it's Linnemann into the Joker lap, yeah.
Markland, and Markland had caught straight back up to him, so Markland could still rescue a podium out of this.
Oh, looking up the inside, he's super close. Did Linnemann go track limits? No, and now he's going to spin, surely! Oh, on the gas, massive tank level through the gravel trap, somehow holds on. And did Linnemann go track limits? Because we saw Kristoffersen get a 5-second penalty for that earlier today. That exact same move, trying to protect the line from JB Dubourg. We'll have to wait and see.
Brave stuff though. Yeah, carried so much speed and unfortunately just ran a bit wide. But frankly, even if it was track limits, he won't get a penalty now because it sorted itself out on the exit of the corner. But going back to Nitic with his team Set Promotion, it's who ran him in the Super 1600 Championship. He knows Juuso Pinimäki very well. He's his spotter, so there's good continuity there for him.
And it's good to see Topi as well. So those of you, of course, who are wondering where Topi Heikkinen is, we're hoping we're going to see him out in a supercar later this year, maybe. But he's working at the minute as a driver coach for the guys at Set Promotion in Super 1600. And you could hear Reinis laughing when he said, I've got a good team manager in Topi Heikkinen. He'll have a good laugh.
I'm sure
with
they'll
him.
have some fun.
They will have some fun.
Nitic's lap time there, it's within a couple of tenths of Petter Solberg, so his actual pace is really impressive.
But also the consistency, Andrew, because you were watching his split times in the semi-final.
Yeah, he did in the semi-final. I think he did 4 laps with the first sector on every lap within a tenth of a second. So he's obviously very comfortable in the car, keeping that consistency, which is what you need. But just look how smooth he is. The car looks very well sorted. Just look how that lands. Really nice compliance to the car.
It's not just Toppy helping as well. Jonny Weeman is helping Rainis too, so he's got a really, really good bunch of guys behind him. It's interesting, both him and Markham behind him for me at World Championship level. Of course, Nitish took that win in his first season of the World Championship, but then swapped teams a couple of times and was maybe a little bit out of sorts. Him and Markham stepping across to Euros, and then you see their class. Like last year, Markham was bashing in times that would have seen him P5, P6 in the World Championship.
Maybe it's just the more relaxed mentality allows them to enjoy the driving more. There isn't necessarily that pressure from the bigger teams or the manufacturers in the World Championship. So you can come back and enjoy, you know, these cars are fun to drive, and it's meant to be like having fun driving these cars. So I think it's really going to be these two throughout the season. But look at the damage on Markland there. He had a hard first corner, all stemmed from that bad start.
Yeah, he got a terrible start, didn't he, whereas Rainis got it together. Interestingly, I suppose it's about what happens now behind Markham with JB de Borg. So JB de Borg is nearly 4 seconds back, which should be enough, shouldn't it, to see Markham if he jokers come out in P2.
Yeah,
so
I think it's around just under 3.5 seconds, so that should be enough for Markham to rescue, and that would be a good rescue job from him to come through to second from, you know, he was last into the first corner.
Look at Nitish's car hanging through there. You know, you can see it's on the brake, little nip on the handbrake. It's all very measured. The car's moving around beautifully underneath.
Flows as well,
it's part of him. Yeah, you know the feeling. He's got the feeling. You can tell, can't you?
It's all neat and tidy. I was saying to you earlier, look, wasn't I? Look, watch out the window, watch him through the last sector. All neat and tidy, confidence in the car, but flowing. It's not a big pull on the handbrake, a big sideways, and then big smoke off the tyres. All very smooth.
Linneman and German in a fight of their own further back, but on the last lap we're going to see both our leaders, our top qualifier and our second place man, go through. And Markland is going to take P2 nicely. Job done. It is JB de Borg who comes through for the G-Force team. Nice job by him as well, I think. Good start and has got it done. But Rainis Nitish, having had a not very good Q1, Rainis got caught in traffic in the atrocious conditions in Q1. He ended up P11. Would have been super disappointed. He then went on to win 3 of the qualifying sessions. Get TQ. He takes the win here. Second place for Anton Markland and third for JB de Borg. Good stuff from Nitish. I think really impressive from Markland as well. Rainis is going to jump out the car. Hasn't been on the roof too much since he was the 2013 Super 1600 champion. Apart from that win, of course, in Norway, but he's not getting on the roof yet. Anyway, it's too early in the season to be replacing him. And you can see, though, he's really, really happy to have done that. I say Markland for me with a great recovery drive as well, and that will mean that he takes home a really decent haul of points from the first round here in Spain. Car looks good. Hedstrom still to finish. Looks at Hedstrom up at the top of the hill. He's running down towards the hairpin. This is where Hansen, of course, was going slowly. Hansen was under no power, wasn't he? Because he couldn't get to the finish line, and it wouldn't have made any difference, because I thought it was lap 6, but he had another lap anyway. So in some ways, he would have done well just to roll it out of harm's way, because he just got spun round. But there we go. So Hedstrom crosses the line. His laps of it's his last laps ahead. No, he's been slow relatively through the race. Hedstrom's been carrying that issue. Rainis Nitish with the win in the first round of the European Rallycross Championship for Supercars from Anton Markland and JB de Borg. Say great recovery from Markland, but Nitish firmly putting one hand on the trophy. It's a long way to go yet, but he's telling Markland, you're going to have to fight for it this year. Good result from Linneman, moving up from Super 1600. Impressed by him, Philip German and Peter Hedstrom. This field is quality, and the racing is going to be great all year. So the fans waiting around for one last big race, of course, in World Championship, but we have the championship standings for you for the European Championship first of all. Attendance here this weekend, 30,000 across the weekend. You can see the grandstands packed. That one is particularly packed with Andreas Bakkerud's fans. Right, we're not going to look at the European Championship points right now. We're going to get ourselves ready instead for the final of round 1 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Okay, take a deep breath, everyone. Have a drink. These guys will be taking a deep breath if they can under their harnesses, which will be unbelievably tight, as will their nerves, because this is, we're about to do battle for the first time. We're about to do battle for their first trophies of the year. First one to be handed out will be the Monster Energy Supercharge Award, which will be for the fastest reaction time off the line. And then we're looking at P1, P2 and P3. And the one, of course, they all want is P1. This is the man who had P1 the most last year. Göran Kristoffersson taking a record 7 wins. This is also the 50th round of the World Rallycross Championship, so a significant birthday for this brilliant series. If you're wondering in terms of all-time wins, Solberg's on 10, Ekstrom is on 10, Kristoffersson is on 9. So if Kristoffersson took the win, he would equal Solberg and Ekstrom at the top. If it's Solberg or Ekstrom who takes it, they become the winningest driver in the history of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. And it is Solberg and Ekstrom with 10 wins each who line up on the front row of the grid, 1 for VW and 1 for Audi. Göran Kristoffersson, the current champion, can he equal their record from the second row? And Sebastian Loeb, could he get onto the podium, even the top step, like it looked like his teammate would from P13 just 20 minutes ago? At the rear, Andreas Backerud on his debut for Audi in the World Championship, and Niklas Gronholm, a brilliant performance from that new Hyundai to make it through to the final. Okay, eyes down and look in. The rumble of 600 horsepower per supercar evident in the background. There's that low growl from the VWs. They get the thumbs up, ready to race. We're good to go. Round 1. Green light, really even start. Loeb got away well, tries to move across on the inside. Gronholm stays wide, contact for Loeb. Oh, into the barrier on the inside. Is it inside Solberg in the barrier on the inside? Kristoffersson goes through. Ah, head in his hands, they know. That is a disaster. Ekstrom is in the lead. Kristoffersson goes into P2 and Backward is up into 3rd.
I thought Ekstrom would be a bit feisty, and there was obviously contact on the run down to the first corner. Ekstrom looked like he gapped Solberg a little bit off the start. He was then in the pound seat to dictate where Solberg was as Loeb ducks out of the traffic into the Joker. But that was a big impact for Solberg into the tyre wall, and nothing he could really do about it.
Unlucky for him. Kristoffersson, though, will be very happy with that because he's now chasing down the car, which he, of course, was a bit quicker than Backward earlier on today, but will he be as quick as Ekstrom? Well, you know, we'll have to wait and see. Backward right behind him, Gronholm 2 up there. So Loeb as Joker, remember, Solberg is going. Solberg got going, and it is at the top of the hill now from the commentary position. We can see him, he's heading down towards that hairpin in the background. Loeb's got clear air, and in the final, it doesn't matter quite so much if you Joker early because the cars in front, you know, are fast.
Yeah, absolutely. How much are we going to bet that Solberg gets the fastest lap in this final? Because he will be cross, he will be angry. And I think there will be some goings-on after this race about that with the judicial side of it, because there was nothing he could do about it. We'll have to see the replay and see how hard Ekstrom was giving the squeeze.
So you think Ekstrom's won an award even if he gets told off? He's won the Supercharge Award, and he won that several times last year. He's got incredibly quick reactions, always joking with his teammates that for an old man he's still fast, and he is very, very fast. This year, of course, focused only on the World Rallycross Championship because he's retired from the DTM. Andrew, what have you seen?
The top 3 are backwards a little bit off. Matthias Ekstrom fastest at 43.3, but then Kristoffersson only a little bit behind. Ekstrom seems to be getting in a rhythm now, doesn't he? Just opening up that gap. There isn't then that direct threat from behind. When are we going to see Kristoffersson go Joker? The spotters will be really busy now. Gronholm, I think, in the background just went to that. Might free up a little bit of open space for Kristoffersson to duck out from behind Backward and then come out in open air.
He needs more than a lap, doesn't he? So before, when he was right behind the Joker, he only needed the 1 lap to get the overlap. This time he's a couple of car lengths back, so maybe he's going to need a couple of laps to try and get that gap down. But at the minute, he doesn't seem able to close the gap to Ekstrom. You're watching the time now.
The top 2 guys are literally doing identical lap times. His fastest lap was off the start, but now they've just done pretty much identical lap times.
Do you see him glance in the mirror? Ekstrom, as he came from the hairpin, the slowest part of the circuit, it's one of the only times you get time to look in the mirror.
Yeah, and I know Kristoffersson here over the jump bigger. I know EKS, with the Audis, they use a number system, so they know how close they are. They'll use a 5-number system, say there's a big gap. A 1 is someone that's right behind you. So
this is a 2, isn't it?
It might be coming down.
Yeah, I was going to buy Stephanie a 1.5 if it was a 2 a minute ago. So Kristoffersson looks like he's closing the gap on Ekstrom. Ekstrom would love to get one over the VWs here. Remember, he won this event for the last 2 years in 2016 and 2017. Matthias Ekstrom won. Will he make it 3 wins in Barcelona in a row?
Kristoffersson's taken time out of him on this lap. I think we could see Kristoffersson, if Ekstrom doesn't go on into the Joker, Joker, I can see Kristoffersson going because he's got the pace looking at this. Again, the previous lap there, 3/10 out of Ekstrom's lead.
So if he goes, Ekstrom obviously is going to have to react anyway because there's only the 2 laps left. But sensible tactics from Ekstrom. He hasn't had given Kristoffersson the chance to take 2 or 3 laps time out of him. Ekstrom goes. This is it. This is it. So backward goes 2 backwards, going to protect the position. Sebastian Loeb coming through. Where's he going to come out in front of Andreas Backward? My goodness me. Great from him. So Loeb is going to move up. Backward has dropped back. Both those guys are joking. Your eyes are on Kristoffersson. Andrew Jordan, can he do this or not?
This is going to be close. This will be a real quick lap. Look, tyre smoke, and he's asking everything of the rear of the car. Gets the car, stop, get it neat and tidy, pull on the handbrake. Good drive off. Let's have a look at lap time there. 43.70, still a very quick lap time.
Here comes Ekstrom's time.
And that's one of the quickest Joker laps we've seen, so he's absolutely on it.
Here we go then, coming around on the last lap of the first round of the World Rallycross Championship. Over the jump, Kristoffersson sucks the jump up along with the car. He dives off into the Joker lap. He's the world champion. Matthias Ekstrom was the world champion before. Comes around the inside. Kristoffersson smokes the tyres up. Ekstrom's on the inside. He's going to hold tight. Kristoffersson's going to have a look around the outside. Can he get it done? Ekstrom moves across, pushes him onto the outside. Sideways on the brakes. He's right up behind him, but Ekstrom has managed to keep the door shut. It's a brilliant job by Matthias Ekstrom. The VWs absolutely smashed it last year, but Ekstrom is the king in Barcelona. It's the 3rd year in a row. He wins the 50th round of the World Rallycross Championship, and with that, he's the most successful driver in history. It's his 11th win in this series. What a drive!
Fantastic stuff, wasn't it? That merge was close, and Kristoffersson had huge momentum on board. He looks pretty chilled out, doesn't he? Maybe he's looking for Petter Solberg, but
the confetti is blowing into the commentary box. That was
that was proper racing.
That was
Kristoffersson still had a run on the outside of him, and Ekstrom just let his car run a little bit, and so Kristoffersson knew he had him covered. He ducked out of it. You're not going to go around the outside of Matthias Ekstrom, certainly on the dirty line. So hard racing. Turn 1, we'll have to see how that works out.
I don't want any disqualifications. No, I mean, if it happens, it happens. The nice thing is we get to see the race either way, and the stewards look at it later. So enjoy the result. It's a bit like Hansen up the inside in Hollius a few years ago. Yeah, it went the other way. The confetti look over the front of the car. Ekstrom winning the definition of Supercharge Award for the fastest reaction times off the line. Matthias Ekstrom then taking the win. As I say, as long as it stands, it will make him the most successful driver in the history of this sport. The 50th event won by Matthias Ekstrom puts him on 11 wins, 1 ahead of Solberg, with Kristoffersson on 9. Johan Kristoffersson's P2, Sebastian Loeb going into 3rd place from 13th. Amazing. Backward, Gronholm and Petter Solberg, the rest of your finalists.
Let's have a look as it goes into turn 1. Ekstrom there's a bit of contact. Solberg's going to feel hard done by because Solberg was on the white line here. Where was he going to go?
You think Ekstrom's put him in the wall?
I wouldn't say he's put him in the wall, but he certainly leant on him on his way into the wall. So Solberg will be angry about that, and I can see that. But Ekstrom will be saying, look, I had the start, I had a wing in front of him, I was coming across. So I'm sure that will go to the stewards because Solberg will look at that as he's been
Supercar final, turn 1 incident under
investigation.
That's obvious.
That's always going to happen because I'm sure someone from VW would already have been up there. But this was the cool bit, look. So he was covered it to the inside.
This was the cool bit.
He comes around the outside. Kristoffersson looks to go around the outside. Ekstrom's got it covered. World-class racing from the 2 of them there. First win of the year for Ekstrom.
I'm kind of hoping the stewards don't get involved. It remains to be seen. It was a brilliant, brilliant final, whatever. What a way to start. Wow, we're laughing our way up. I get a bit excited. I was jumping up and down and throwing paperwork all over the place. That was how I wanted to start this series. I hope that's how it carries on for the rest of the year. Brilliant stuff.
Wow, what an incredible final that was. There's something about this circuit that Matthias clearly really likes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a proper racing circuit. Wow, what a start, what a race. That was fantastic. And I mean, just to try to avoid the undercut from Kristoffersson on the last lap as well, it was absolutely amazing to see Matthias in front after the Joker.
2 cars on the podium. Congratulations. Let's enjoy the podium. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're discussing off air whether or not we think he's in trouble for turn 1, aren't we? Let's be honest.
I feel I'm being the serious one up here, and you're just loving how exciting that race. But it's.
All right,
I'm sure it's inevitable. It will go to the stewards, and they'll both explain there.
Okay, I think we're going to be able to see a replay of Christophersen. Is this his onboard? Because if it is, that's great. He might give us a view of what happened in front. Okay, watch Ekstrom Solberg.
To be fair, Ekstrom was a couple of foot in front. He got the better start, and it wasn't a huge touch, was it? You know, so I'm sure Ekstrom will sit there and say, no, Solberg's come across, and that's instigated the contact, and vice versa. So from that shot, it didn't look as though it was a harder hit as I had expected from where Solberg ended up going.
Yeah, Christophersen had a great view of it. It's not nice, obviously, to see your teammate head into the barrier. We must point out it's a soft barrier, and Solberg continued the rest of the race. You saw the tyre boats go flying. I'm loving the onboard, but I kind of want to see the start of it 5 times in a row to try and figure it out. But of course, that's exactly what the stewards are going to do, Andrew. So they're not just have a stab at this. They're going to get all the onboards and all the data, and they'll look at it, won't they?
Yeah, they'll look at all, as you say, the data, the onboards. They'll hear everyone's side of the story, which will obviously differ a huge amount. But that's part of it, you know. Ekstrom sat there, the chance of winning the first race of the year, he's going to absolutely go for it, as is everyone on the grid. So, you know, there's always 2 sides to every story. So Solberg will feel hard done by, and Ekstrom will feel that he did nothing wrong and he's won the race. So that's why we have good stewards at these races to resolve these sort of things, isn't it?
Solberg's lap times weren't quite as good as Christophersen's, but obviously that's after clattering the tyres, so there'll be some damage.
Or something like
yeah,
that.
There'll be some damage on the car. So. But I mean, it's interesting. I suppose Christophersen and Solberg, we know they're both very good. Solberg was the foreman this weekend, but that's partly as well due to the weather. But he's fired up for this season. I'm just super excited, basically, that everybody is so close together. You know, it looks like Peugeot are there. Sebastian Loeb's ended up on the podium, so it was a good decision by then. Could Hansen have won it? So many questions. We've got 11 rounds left to answer them. Brilliant. I can't believe what a great start it is to the season. Because it was so close. It was so close. Neil Cole is with the winner, Matthias Ekstrom.
Matthias, it's great to see you so hungry for the win there, pushing, fighting, defending, everything you could do, and you won.
Yeah, it was a really hard fought final, but I think the key was to put 4 new tires for the final, so I had a better start than Petter and was able to go first into turn 1, and after this I saw Johan, and I know now it's going to be a drag race 6 laps, and at the merge on the Joker I knew it would be the last lap, so I think he came side by side, and yeah, this time I managed to stay in front.
Do you think turn 1 was fair and square? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, when I looked out the side window, Petter was, from what I could see, he was behind. So I don't know what happened behind me, but I could clearly feel I had a much better start when I pulled over to take the line. And then shortly before the corner, I got the hit. But I don't know if it was from him or from someone else.
Congratulations, a great start to the championship.
Thank you.
Andrew, your thoughts on Ekstrom's work? Okay, let's have a look at the standings first. Ekstrom leading on 27 from 24. Christophersen, Solberg 23, Backer at 19. Timmy Hansen probably the hardest done by for me on 16. You would have had 6 points from the semi, and then we might have seen him win the final, so don't read too much into that. Loeb, a pretty good recovery. Good to see, I say, Grodon, Backer, Baumanis, all these people who've moved cars or got new cars, all in there. So much to talk about. So little time, because Neil Cole's down there and he's got Johan Christophersen. Christophersen had a very good view of that start. Maybe we'll hear what he thinks, but I suspect he'll just be pleased with a good start to the season.
Johan, it's great to see you at the start of a new season. Despite being world champion, still very hungry to win a race.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now it's a new season. All the points from last year is 0, so for sure I'm fighting hard, and I had a tough weekend starting from the outside and all the heats. And then, yeah, finally I had a good start position in semi-final, and in final I humped Matthias as much as I could, and just couldn't reach him. But hey, we are very happy with the second place. Super miss and happy for Petter, but yeah, we come back stronger.
Well done, thank you.
Thank you.
So Johan happy with his result, not so happy with Petter's, but either way, look at that. That tells you what you need to know. So PSRX Volkswagen Sweden on 47 points. They had a decent gap last season. At the moment, it's a 1-point gap from EKS Audi Sport. The EKS team name changing, but for increased support from Audi Sport, and that increased support has seen them take the first win of the year. Team Peugeot Total in 3rd place, but I think they've got great pace this year. Durex Tanaco, GC Competition, and Olsberg's MSE. Fantastic battle in prospect. And the podium is ready. So Andrew Jordan, we were listening roughly to the interviews there. What are you thinking from everybody's point of view?
Well, Matthias said he got the best start, which he did.
And he said he looked out the window and I saw Petter was behind.
Yeah. So that's his side of it, and it'll be interesting to see Petter's side of it on the interview. But you know, as it is, Matthias has won. I'm sure they'll sort it out after the race. But these guys are all hard racers. They're here to win. They're not here to mess around. They're here to make friends. They're here to win at the end.
And
of it.
I don't want to. I don't want to see carnage. I'm not looking for that. I hope everyone. I get excited because I love good racing like that. And that was so.
Did you get excited?
No, well, only a little bit,
just a little bit. But that's what we want to see. We want to see them going absolutely at it to win.
You remember, you've done the commentary with me since 2013, on and off, obviously, when you're not busy being a superstar racing driver. But we've had finals where 6 guys line up. We don't know who's going to win. And last year, obviously, if there would be, although ironically, of course, Audi won the first 3. We knew VW were strong, and they had little problems. There was the puncture in Portugal. There was the duff starts here in Barcelona. All those problems are gone now. So we've got that level at the start of the season. And I'm just so excited to see a fight again.
And this is Ekstrom's main priority now. Obviously, last year he had DTM. This is his thing now. This is his thing to win that championship back. And look at that, fair play to Sebastian Loeb and to Peugeot, to be fair, to take that risk and
you don't like it, do you?
No, of course
if you're Kevin, you don't like it, and it,
in terms of teams points that he's just scored,
massive.
That's a good call.
Absolutely massive. I'm sorry for Timmy because I actually think Timmy could have been in the mix today, like seriously in the mix.
He's been the quickest Peugeot driver this weekend, hasn't he?
And like Q4 was unbelievable. Semi-final was mega, and I don't know. Imagine if we were trying to figure out between the 3 of them. So again, they've had that thing of just the 2 between the strategy, which takes a bit of pressure off the spotters. If there were 3 and one of them had gone early, what happens then? Then you're looking at covering off people from the rear and in front. It ended up kind of being the 2 of them out front. It could have been amazing. It was amazing. Oh wow! So we got 11. I thought I might be a bit calmer after this weekend. I think I'm more excited. Sorry at home if any of you got
That's what we want to see,
speakers.
is a variety of not knowing who's going to win. As you say, yes, Audi won the first few rounds last year, but we want that unknown. We want to know it's going to be a close fight. It's always going to be a close joker merge, rather than knowing, someone's going to come out way in front. To me, that's what this sport is. It's short, sharp, punchy action, hard racing, and we don't want to take that away from it at all. It needs to be hard racing, and that's certainly what we've seen so far this weekend, isn't it?
Absolutely. Photographers down there.
And I think Backerud as well done a very good job. Just a shout out to him, just missing out on the podium. His first weekend with a new team, with Audi Sports, an Audi Sport driver. I really like Andreas and his approach to the racing. And I think he's done a very good job. His pace compared to Matthias has been very good as well.
He hasn't had any running in the dry either, which is interesting. So the conditions here have gone to dry. Matthias, although these are new cars, clearly there's some carryover in the feeling, I imagine, from the previous chassis. And Andreas has come from a significantly different and bigger chassis, which he was kind of driving round some potential issues.
I spoke to him about that on one of the media days, and he said this was the Audi was much more agile. It's a much smaller car than the Focus. I think that was taking a bit of time to get used to. But it's to come in against Matthias as one of your teammates and show well, score points for the team, just miss out on a podium. I think he should be very happy with the job he's done over the weekend for his first weekend to get his feet nicely under the table. I think he will definitely be a championship challenger and a championship threat all throughout the season.
Oh, wow. What a start to the year. There's the new Supercharger Award, which is actually a Supercharger this year. Quite cool, I think. Champagne and stewards. A lot still to come, but 11 more rounds of FIA World Rallycross. Here we are in Barcelona for the first round, World RX of Catalunya, Barcelona. We're heading to Montalegre, Portugal next, a long way up a mountain. We've had snow and we've had sunshine there in the past. Then Belgium, last corner joker, that'll be fantastic fun. Great Britain for the brand new Speed Machine Festival. I'm interested to see how the drivers take to the partying and the action on track as well. Got a big jump there. Norway to Hell, Sweden to Holliers, 2 Rallycross classics. The ultra-fast Trois Rivières circuit over in Canada. France with a massive crowd in Loiac, 70,000 people we've had there before. Latvia then, the forestry track through the centre of the city. United States, first time ever at Kota, Estering with that wonderful first corner and rounding it out down in South Africa. If it carries on like this, it's going to be an absolutely epic season of racing. Portugal next. Wet gravel, so at top of a mountain, those big curbs, it will be incredibly spectacular. We hope that you'll be joining us there for round 2 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. And we'll see who picks up the win.